Ah. Peace, 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 y'all. It's your boy Killah B. This is the morning show with Chris Harris and Killah B. We about to burn their motherfucking asses up. And you know this is me, Killah B, the Witch Finder General. And if you got a witch, I'll burn their asses up. Let's go, y'all.
This part right here, hold on for me one more time here. What part? Just take that right there. My man, take my part right there. Do this for me one more time. Word.
It's your brother Jock. Welcome y'all to the event feature. Y'all. Take time away and travel your galaxy. Cut off positions you intend to take. When you return in tragedy, weaken the wicked with a well-placed stone. No need to fortify. My abyss absorbs your home, your zone, your clones, where you roam, and your brightness, and your robots who appear in my likeness. All praise to his highness. Melt you King Midas, assemble troops like Titus. Hold it like dust. Our rust is reformed into the dust to which sons are born. So ill your temple liquefies. Mind Jim, watch Loki dematerialize, spiritualize the earth to crush flatbreads. Box of death is what the crap says. They don't know how old they got con to shaving short. Oh, what a saving sport. Word into your dimension sport. Come find out why I'm TK. Telekinesis thesis reaches out in this way. The truth and the life in my sight. Build altars and view starlight. Demolish altars who wanna fight. Then bow before my lock of the dot. He warned me of sorcerer cops who beard chop and sell poison crops. Watch, I kill my own self before the heart. My degree is enterprise chart. Enter eyes like gleam off a sword. Set on fire, you're my Ali Lord. Sun Tzu gave me that. They plundered the map over ravines down the creek. Horses and streets, Nordic meat as a woolly coat. Saw jazz fight, taught him to throw a rope. Too many drown in brooks, lose hope. I realize I'm sober. My self-knower is a soldier who told me he is the torch, smolder. To reap the field and do it backwards. That is, reap the field and smolder. The torch is he who told. Y'all crash like Steve McQueen. Elizabeth on your money team. Killer priests, traverse dreams. Sniper warnings of killer bees. Oh, about that situation. Switching hand placement. Grandma, since ancient, she give thanks and tell you about Joseph. Told them to wait outside of this. Your Akab gotta be about father business. Sharing as the meek shall inherit. Cats didn't listen when I told them out the parrot. Loops of the swift chariot. Elisha marriage. Chock full of despair. And when Jah returned, he dipped water and burned. My time frames have sharp corners. That stab box heads and joiners. Corners out of the board show examples to the students. Orcas in the hordes forced to swim through sewage. Goddamn, the work challenging. Wearing gifts you was lavishing, looking dashing as the crowd's grabbing. Rope chains, bangles, and body kicks. Hoodies with rose gold zips. Willie butter leather matching gloves. Women on the leather cause she loves. Bless y'all who can make the journey. Guard and glowing. Ask your attorney. Serpents with broke heads on gurneys. Youth and pre-sales learning. Desire burning as elders churning. Then she give you a bit to take. See how the hard work put a shine to your face, to your faith. Far from the wrath of grapes, or the Farsi hate, or the Essene fakes. End up in a mean cheap place. From heights view a major gift. Y'all more confused than fans of Taylor Swift. Time to time, take a slip. Show how much you know when I'm found relaxed in a Gondor bungalow. Sister bro, oh.
I don't believe these people. They fronting on me after all the business I done gave them, man. You know what I'm saying?
Look, Sneaker Genius, we were here trying to rehearse.
Rehearse?
Yes.
Why don't you put a little rap in it like my man
The
did?
times at hand, exposed corpse from the sand. We ruled the land and it sprout great food. Nobody wants to lose, nor is it something you choose. But niggas be on Tom Cruise. Some black actors who promote bachelors, not even listening when I ask you. Take lessons from the older rap groups. My meditations rock the nations. Hurt your stomach like the smell of bacon. Out with a mason and eat up they snakes. Seem too easy and you go astray. How much time do we have to wait to pray before the hunger pains lead the way? Seeing Kanai burn his own face. That's what you get when holiness misplaced. Duck face devils claim pyramids. where octagons get inked like squid. Know where I live, where Pegasus is. Best to miss when the bones break. Slow taste like Bueller in case. Nymphs hate my blade break. Put you to the burning gate. Alive and well, living action do tell. Smooth as rails, especially with him we finish. My rhyme scheme is called Do Not Diminish. While youth remain timid, sandbar to sandlot. Football stars pop, wars are candid, red knot, change colors under warm water. Bathtubs, she used expensive scrubs for daughters. Catch you like the last pass. Snagged on grass, had to move fast in the face of a siren's blast. Yet sit here in this task, round up mutants like Boulevard trash. Same date, do not crash. Once you down like.
That's right. That's right. It's Killah B, the goddamn witch finder general. You got a witch out burning their goddamn asses up every goddamn time, not half the time, not all the time, but every goddamn time. What up, Chris Harris? How you doing this morning?
What's going on, man? Had to go ahead and refill the tank up after yesterday's witch burning session.
We burned their asses up. We burned their asses up, man. They can't do nothing with it. They can't do nothing with it.
They can.
And we went all this way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man. It is a damn shame. They can't even come out here and just have a conversation.
And just have a conversation, because you know why? The problem is what they're doing is when they come on, they want to put you on the back pedal. They want to make you afraid to talk to them. You see what I'm saying? I think they think that God gonna defend them or something from these facts, from this history. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they tend to do. They playing games. And I heard Mr. Cassell come on here. All right, and we'll just call him Mr. Ketchup. Okay, so because you got to catch up to me. Come on here and talk about the. You say what?
Coming up out here looking like a damn booger.
with a bunch of damn fake Jesuses all on the picture. Whether you make them black or white, it ain't real. All right, it don't matter. Okay, so what I'm trying to sit up there and say is when he came on here, and we're gonna get a lot of information out to you all today, and hopefully my brother Trey Hampton, he can come on here too and expose some more of your so-called holy book. I'm going to delve in a little bit of this Peshitta here in the information that I pulled from it just by doing some simple history research on this book here. Now, what came up yesterday was when me and the one brother was talking about the virgin birth, he came on here and said the Peshitta does not say that there was a virgin birth. Okay, so now we got a problem. We got a problem here because you guys are pulling from other books, right? Other traditions, right? Other philosophies in order to substantiate your cultic practice, right? And this is where the confusion comes in, right? Because he understands what he was told was in the Peshitta, but he's never did any research on the Peshitta probably. And if he did do some research on the Peshitta, he still talk about the Peshitta and he still stands by it because he has something called cognitive dissonance. Yes. All right, because had you done any research on the Peshitta, you would know that it's a totally different tradition than that of the King James Bible, than that of the Hebrew Bible, than that of the Greek Bible, than that of the Latin Bible. So you guys have all these different texts that you pull from to create your own doctrine. And this is where your confusion comes in. But you all will be the first to say that our God is not the God of confusion. Well, I'm confused. Because when I opened up the book of Matthew, chapter 1, it said there was a virgin birth and Joseph knew her not. So if there's a lie in the King James version of the Bible, listen to this now. If there's a lie in there, in something that don't belong in there, then that's not the word of God, and you can't read any of it because God is love and God is truth, right?
Right.
So you can't read anything from there. And the best thing that you can do is just go learn the Aramaic, like Judah Nutzura did over there in Japan. He just learned the Aramaic. But you know, if you read the Aramaic with the new information that's out here today, then it can be easily proven then that's not the word of God. And we're gonna get into all of that. And that's not some holy language. That's just something that y'all held over everybody's heads to say, see, I know the ancient language and what it really said and what it really meant. And you get everybody all googly-eyed looking at you because you're reading the Aramaic text.
Yep.
That's why y'all on here bringing up Jeff Benner and all those other Hebrew linguists who added to the language, by the way. Who added to the language. This is why y'all go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I would say he just made his own shit up.
Yeah, they made their own shit up. We can deal with that tomorrow too, because we're gonna be dealing with a lot with Morning Coffee with Killah B and Chris Harris. We're gonna be dealing with a lot of that. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give everybody a brief history of the Peshitta. And guess what, James Cassell? If you're listening, because I know you are, you ain't got no damn job. You probably just like everybody else, furloughed or laid off, right? And I'm getting ready to get out of here myself and do some things myself today, get some money in my pocket, the old-fashioned way. It's called entrepreneurship. But anyway, what I want to do is the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a definition or read from the Encyclopedia Britannica what the Peshitta is. All right. So B, when I can have the floor, let me know.
No, you got the floor.
That's right, baby. All right. Now the Peshitta, which means all it means is simple or common. That's all Peshitta means. It's nothing special. It just means simple or common.
Meaning for everybody.
It's for everybody. It's another universal doctrine, right? See, B already knew that. But see, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all with B. He'll let you come on here and talk. He don't want to debate you. He think it's stupid to debate you idiots. He think it's stupid. He think it's a waste of time talking to y'all. Now I understand what he meant. It's a waste of time talking to you all because you all won't even acknowledge the simple research.
Nope.
Y'all won't even acknowledge the simple research. You know what I'm saying? Because you have two conflating ideas in your head because new information is being presented and it's conflicting with an old belief that's in your mind.
Right.
Right? That's why y'all don't like it. That's why y'all don't like it when people start showing you new things because that cognitive dissonance begins to kick in and you begin to say like, damn, this is making sense. But you don't want to accept it. That's a form of psychology that run deep. And this is where you get a lot of oppression from and repression.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? You know, you guys can go to www.handoffonline.com and they have an interesting article on it called The Cognitive Psychology of Reasoning, an introduction. You guys can go pull that article and it's like a 12-page article that y'all can go read about it. And religion comes up in this article here. But I've derived from my point. Let's get into this Syriac Peshitta here, or as I call it, the Peshitta. Because that's all it is a bunch of junk. All right. Now, this is what it says. The Syriac version of the Bible, comma, the accepted Bible of Syrian Christian churches from the end of the 3rd century AD. The name Peshitta was first employed by Moses Bar Kafa in the 9th century AD to suggest that the text was in common use. Now we have a problem. Not everybody owned these texts because there was no printing press. So somebody got a hold of it in the 9th century AD and said, I'm suggesting that this was the one in common use. This is the first thing it tells you about it. Yep. Let's look at the second part of it. The name also may have been employed in contradistinction to the more complex Syrian hexaplar version. So there's another version of this book out. Of the vernacular versions of the Bible, the Old Testament Peshitta is the second only to the Greek Septuagint in antiquity. So it's saying the Greek Septuagint, it's still the oldest book. First thing we read, dating from probably the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. The earliest parts in the Old Syriac are thought to have been translated from Hebrew. Listen to what this says. Let me repeat. The earliest parts in Old Syriac are thought to have been translated from Hebrew or Aramaic texts by Jewish Christians at Edessa. Now, when I say Edessa, just so you all know, Edessa is in Mesopotamia. It's in Antioch. It's not even in Israel. Although the Old Testament Peshitta was later revised to the Greek textual principles, the earliest extant versions of the New Testament Peshitta date to the 5th century AD. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So you're reading a 5th century text. You're presenting a 5th century text that does not predate the Greek Septuagint. So that means this doctrine came 477 years later after the death of Jesus. Let me read this again. The earliest extant versions of the New Testament Peshitta date to the 5th century. Do you know what extant means? Let's see what the word extant means. Still in existence or surviving documents. So the latest they can date it is to the 5th century AD. Come on, son. Who you think you messing with when you come up on here with that old pseudo information? Let's continue to read. The earliest extant versions of the New Testament Peshitta date to the 5th century AD and exclude the 2nd letter of Peter, the 2nd letter of John, the 3rd letter of John, the letter of Jude, and the Revelation of John. Wow. Which were not canonical in the Syrian church. So now right there off rip, we see we dealing with a separate tradition that don't accept certain books. From the book you claim there was no virgin birth. Let's keep it moving. This is simple research, guys. Let's keep going here. Let's continue to read. What's all that noise?
Nah, these the fools mad at the video and shit. Facebook, I'm about to turn this shit. I just dropped the link. I want to hear all that dumb shit. Just come on in
here. Let's deal with Theodore Barkanai. Now, Theodore Barkanai, he lived around the 9th century AD. He was a Syrian scholar and author of a noted collection of annotations of the Syriac Bible. The work is also an important historical and theological source on Eastern religion sects during the 1st millennium of Christianity. A native of Kasakar, Iraq, Theodore was probably a monk in the Nestorian Church, a heretical group adhering to the teachings of the 5th century theologian Nestorius, who emphasized the human personhood of Christ while attenuating his divinity. Theodore's only extant work is the Liber Scholarium, or Book of Annotations, the Latin designation of a vast Syriac collection of observations and elucidations taking their point of departure from biblical passages, but developed into detailed considerations of philosophy, psychology, logic, and Eastern religions. Notice it's not saying Israelite traditions. It's not. No Hebrew shit. Nothing's being mentioned of that. Everything is being mentioned in the Eastern Orthodoxy, which I'm going to get into. All right. Let's continue on. Excuse me.
Might have a continue, Chris.
What?
We might have a live one, Chris. We might have a live one. We got some food. Yep. His name is tell this food name. Don Bird.
I know Don Bird. He cool. No,
Porizio.
No, I know Don. Don is good people's, man. Don Bird is good people's, man. Bring him on in for a sec. Let's see what he got to say. I know Don. He a good dude. That's Don Juan. If you want to come on in, but tell him, please, I got to finish up with my presentation.
Motherfucker. about to be down and out. I'm coming up out of this motherfucker. Yeah, that damn shit.
Okay, let's see if you can go.
Somebody came in. Somebody in the room. Parizio. Down and out. What up?
Yeah, I'm here. What's happening?
What's happening? So
we here to get it on.
You here to get it on now. Now keep it right. I don't want to hear none of that fuckery on here. We act like civilized people on it until you get it fucked up and shit. Then we just drag it. So you say you have a problem with us believing that the Bible is mythology. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, Trey Hamp's trying to get the link. Trey trying to get the link.
Trying to get the link? All right.
Yeah, Big Trey trying to get the link.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bible ain't mythology. Let's go.
Okay, go ahead, Don.
Yep, you're flipping the pages.
First of all, the Bible don't even qualify to be a mythology. It's not even in the mythological section in the library. So what gives you the idea that the Bible is a myth? By definition, it wouldn't even qualify for a myth. So where are you getting your opinion from?
It's religion, sir. Religion is mythology.
Okay, Bible
maybe
is
a religion.
Okay, Bible is one thing, a mythos is another, and religion is another. That's three different categories.
What section is?
Let me get this, B. Well, do you have any? First thing I want to ask is, do you have anything to say about the lesson that I'm presenting right now? The information I'm putting out right now.
No, I think that if you're going to just make a blanket statement like the Bible is mythology, I don't think you know much about the Bible at all.
Real quick. I haven't mentioned the Bible being mythology in this lesson right now. But let's stop there and let's deal with mythology. All right? And we're going to stop what I was presenting about the Peshitta, and we're going to talk about mythology. All right? And I'm just going to ask you some basic questions concerning what mythology is. Is that okay? Because I haven't made a blanket statement at all.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to interrupt your lesson, but I was invited on behind your gad on the Facebook. So I'm not trying to interrupt your lesson or nothing. I didn't even know you had a lesson going.
Right. So. You know me. So I mean, I already, you know what I'm saying? I already know you. So what's it called? Now, a blanket statement, those are non-committal statements. That means when somebody say something like, well, all people are good. That's somewhat of a blanket statement. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not making any blanket statements. Now, me to say that the Bible, I've never said the Bible is mythology. I said the Bible is based upon older mythologies told in antiquity. Like, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you believe the Gilgamesh happened?
No. I don't deal with the Gilgamesh tale. I've heard it. I read it, but I don't.
Right, but the Epic of Gilgamesh is a known mythology in Sumerian lore. That's what it's called. So
absolutely
correct. It consists of a man receiving a vision from God to build a boat, to put all the animals on it, to put his family on it, and he is to get on that boat and ride this so-called flood out. When he gets off the boat, he makes a sacrifice to the gods, right? He makes a sacrifice to the gods. But we would say that story right there is mythos, but the Noah's Ark story that came watch this, because the Epic of Gilgamesh dates back to the 21st century BCE. It was found on clay tablets, and it dates back to the 21st century BCE. So let's just say that the Hebrew Bible, which we're going to just say 7th century BCE, when y'all writings first started coming around. So you got 23, 22, 21, 2000, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Y'all got over 2,100 years without any existent writings to prove that your story came first. But you'll say that the Noah's Ark is real, but it contrasts and parallels almost perfectly to the Epic of Gilgamesh mythology.
Understood. Understood. And there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is because everything that is noted in the scripture that we read, as far as like that example with Noah's deluge, has been parroted throughout many different customs and cultures, starting at the Tower of Babel. These are just the Epic of Gilgamesh is just a recounting or retelling the same story that we see in the book of Genesis.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. Stop right there. He just told you, brother, and you smart enough to know that the Epic of Gilgamesh precedes the Genesis narrative by over 1,000 years. So why would you sit here and try to say that the Epic of Gilgamesh is plagiarized from Genesis? Why would you take that angle, brother? I'm just trying to. I want to be cool, but I'm not going to sit here and let you do that. Go ahead, run it.
Okay, great. What we find here is a bit of a conundrum. When that story is predated, the question would be, who was it written by? When was it authored? By who?
And when you ask the same thing about the Genesis narrative?
Yes.
And do you have the answers for those? Do you have the answers for those?
Yes, we have the answer for that.
You have the answers to who wrote Genesis.
Moses is attributed to writing the Pentateuch. And what Moses does, Moses is born at, and here's the conundrum. Moses is born around 18th century BCE.
18th
But yet
century
the story predates Moses by at least 600 years.
No.
So
hold on, real quick. Hold on. Let me slow you down, Don. Let me slow you down. Are you saying Moses was born in the 18th century BCE?
Roughly.
Okay.
Roughly around 1738 BCE.
Okay. Trey, just let him continue to talk, and we just gonna continue to build, because we talking about the Gilgamesh. We're not gonna move all around. We want to stay on this Gilgamesh and Noah's epic here. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, Toda Rabah. So therefore, what we have is a conundrum. How is Moses writing about a count when clearly he wasn't born there? But see, we can pin an author. We know who he is. This, whatever he's saying, whether we believe it or not, the fact is he's being attributed to writing this long after the story ever happened. But in the Epic of the Gilgamesh tale, somebody writes that, they author that. So the question is, who is the author of that particular book? What is his credentials? We know about Moses, but who is this guy? Did he exist during the time? Is this a writing and a style from the time of the language when it was out there? I mean, there's a lot of questions as from a scholastic point of view that one has to take into account. No doubt the writer of the Epic of Gilgamesh probably is somebody contemporary.
Okay.
Meaning somebody here in the AD wrote that, even though they're trying to date the story event further than Moses. You can date a story further back, but that does not mean you are the actual eyewitness. That I don't believe that account has a real eyewitness. I believe the account is true to some form, but I don't believe that the person who authored the account is that old. I don't believe that, and nobody should.
So do you believe which account were you just referring to?
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Epic of Gilgamesh. You just said, correct me if I'm wrong, that you believe that the account is true.
To a degree.
To a degree. Okay. And you also believe that the Genesis narrative is true. So are you saying that they are the same account, or are they separate accounts?
They are the similar account. I believe that the Epic of Gilgamesh is just a retelling of what took place in the day of Noah.
Retelling when it predates the Genesis account by over 1,000 years.
Because you look at what you do is you look at what is stated in both the Genesis account and the Epic of Gilgamesh account, and you'll see they're very similar.
I
And
want to
this,
say something. I'm gonna let you finish. You understand that you are in the 0.0.0.0.0.0 million times 0 percentile with that narrative that you just said? You understand that you stand alone with the rest of scholarship in its entirety on this subject. I just want to just give you that right there.
I'm well aware of that, but I am saying something specifically from the basis of my scholarship. I am saying I do not believe the Epic of Gilgamesh is authentic or true, but it contains semblances of what we see in the Genesis account.
Okay, but
Therefore,
hold on, Don.
therefore, it is just a pale retelling of Noah's flood.
How can it be a retelling and it came before the Noah's flood story? That's what I'm trying to. Why is it? This is like pulling teeth.
Well,
How
you
can it be a
explained it earlier.
retelling?
You said there was a boat. There's a boat in the Bible. There's a flood. There's a flood in the Bible. Correct? There was a sacrifice, in both accounts. You see, there were animals in both accounts. See, these are similar semblances of the same story, isn't it?
Let's do it like this. Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's go to 1900 BC. Okay.
Okay.
This Epic of Gilgamesh, let's say it's written, presented, however you want to say it. 1900 BC, you got the Epic of Gilgamesh. You yourself said that the Moses character, which your dating is wrong on Moses' birth as well, but you yourself said Moses would have been born after something that's already written. Like,
yes,
you're tripping over yourself. You gave Moses a birth sometime around 1830 BC. I believe that's what you said, which is completely wrong. I'm sorry. 1738. Okay, so now you've granted the Epic of Gilgamesh another 200 years prior to anything Moses could have written.
That's according to the source you read, isn't it?
According to modern theology, the dating of the Epic of Gilgamesh is 1900 BC. So that's not according to me at all. That's according to modern scholarship.
Okay, that's what I just said. And therefore, I am also saying that Moses is not born till another 200 something years later. So therefore, I am not saying anything to shoot myself in the foot. I do not believe the Epic of Gilgamesh is authoritative. I do not believe that it is accurate to the point of the biblical narrative. I'm just doing comparative reason.
Let me get some words out, guys, for a minute. I'm waiting a little bit patiently here, and I'm becoming impatient.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, no problem, Trey. You can come on in when I'm done. What I'm asking you, Don Berg, here is the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? Listen to what I'm saying. It's not the oldest flood narrative, because before that, you got the Artrahasis. Before that, you have the Zaustra. So you have two stories that predate your biblical narrative, even as far back as 2550 BCE. And these were all found on clay tablets in Assyria.
Well, that makes sense.
So let me just add to, so, in essence, just in conclusion, the Genesis flood narrative is actually the youngest and newest, with several that predated.
Exactly.
No, that's a false dilemma right there.
No,
again,
it's not.
No, wait a minute, guys. Just wait a minute, 1 second. I'm not finished talking. I'm being very patient here, okay? I want to ask you, Don Berg, okay? And I want Trey to be able to talk. I want everybody to be able to talk and to get along, because we have an intelligent conversation today, all right? I get sick of the nigga shit, all right? We're going to have an intelligent conversation. So what I'm going to ask you, Don Berg, is can you supply me your earliest Hebrew text, and can you give me a date for it?
No, because there is no earliest. So, and that from this perspective,
okay, cool. That was a yes or no question. No. That was a yes or no question. You gave me a yes or no.
It was.
And I appreciate that. So, in conclusion, you don't have any proof that Noah's story predates that of the Gilgamesh title. Am I correct?
That is a leap into an assertion that I'm not making.
No. What I just stated was not an assertion. I asked you a question.
I don't know if I would take that stand.
Okay, so you just said that you cannot prove a older Hebrew text than that of the Sumerian text, which was written in cuneiform, which predates the so-called Aramaic text by some 2,800 years. You can't show me an existent text that predates that of the Epic of Gilgamesh. You can't show me that. So for you
No,
to
because
sit here,
again, the narrative doesn't take place right,
once
but not to
again,
cut across you.
you
Finish.
can't,
But the narrative of Moses when he writes is,
sir, once again,
again, if I said that Moses was born around the 18th century BCE, and you find a story that predates it, then this is two different things.
okay.
One does not discount the other. One does not discount the other, and that is a false dilemma.
Okay, no, Don. First of all, Noah was not born. I mean, Moses was not born in the 18th century. That is not a consensus. Second of all, the name Ramses is being mentioned along with Moses in the Exodus 9th century BCE. So Ramses didn't even come into existence until that time period. Or
But you don't get.
Hold on 1 second, and I'm gonna let you talk. I'm very patient. All right. So you have Moses and Ramses being mentioned at the same time. So now you're 3, watch this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 500 years off from the time Moses and Ramses is being mentioned here. So you're wrong about that. And in order to make the claim that you're making, you have to first prove Moses. And you brought Moses into the conversation. That's not what we're discussing. We're talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a known mythology, and how it parallels and contrasts that of the Exodus. This is the problem that I'm having with the Israelites and you all, because you all will say, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, and I don't accept that, but you accept the Exodus narrative, and it runs almost parallel with that of the Gilgamesh epic.
I understand that. However, there is a bit. I understand how you break it down.
Why is yours not solid?
Because I'm not approaching the text.
Why is theirs?
Because I don't approach the text that way.
Listen, why is theirs yours not? You don't
because
approach
I don't.
it that way.
First
That's
of all,
a personal
I don't
thing,
approach
and I
it that
can't
way.
argue with you.
Listen, I don't approach nothing
can't
that
argue
way.
with you that on how you feel about that.
Well, I'm not one of them Hebrew Israelites. First of all, this is Pro Rizzo 1. I'm not on that level.
What makes you think this is real versus that?
Because first of all, as I stated before, we know the Epic of Gilgamesh is a mythos. It is trying to parrot a story from a time before the story was ever written.
Not.
Yes,
no,
it is.
It's not.
That's stupid.
It's not.
You called it a mythos.
No, it's not. Hold on.
You called it a myth.
You made an assertion, sir.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do.
You're gonna tell me what
pull
to
up
do, and I'm
Epic
trying
of
to have an
Gilgamesh
intelligent
right now.
conversation.
Okay, we're gonna pull up Epic of Gilgamesh right now.
Go ahead.
It is a poem, isn't it?
Based on this mythology, yes, it's a poem.
It is often regarded as the earliest surviving great work of literature and the second oldest religious text after the pyramid text, roughly around 2100 BCE. Now, notice it says there are independent stories that were later sourced, were used as a source material for a combined epic in Akkadian. The first surviving version of this combined epic, known as the Old Babylonian version, dates to 18th century BC and is titled after its incipit. I can't read the word there, but the point is, this is a poem, but it is a poem based on the story of Noah around 2100 BCE.
Hey, B, I'm gonna have to ask you to mute the gentleman for a minute.
Yeah, just hold on, brother. Don't let Chris go.
Okay. Now, first of all, whatever source you're reading from, you're actually hanging yourself. But you continue to insert Noah into that, saying this is a poem based on the Epic of Noah or based on the story of Noah. You did not read that anywhere in there. So now you're being scholastically dishonest on this panel, and you don't have to do that.
Attacking my character here says a lot about you.
Did I
This is
just
what I'm gonna do for
attack this
you.
comment
I would like
section?
to set up a
God,
debate with you on the Lions Den about this.
dude.
I really would.
God,
Oh.
dude.
Hold on. Now, what you just did was say he insulted your character. No, he insulted your scholarship, not your character. He's only talking about what you said out of your mouth. Now I'm going to unmute you, let Chris go, and then you'll have your turn.
The first thing I said was you're being scholastically dishonest. I did not insult your character. I didn't insult anything. You're acting very acquiescent to the points that you're reading that on the information you just read. You keep inserting into these narratives that these are based on Noah's story. That's not true. These stories were based on the Sumerians, the history of Sumeria from the 3rd dynasty of Ur. That was it. And they were discovered in the library of Ashurbanipal in Nineveh, of all places. It never mentions Noah. And then there were 12 more tablets. When you talk about a writer, there were 12 more. There was a writer by the name of Sin Lekwi Ununi, and he was a priest. And he redacted the text back around 1300 BCE, 1300 or the first millennium BCE, still predating your biblical narrative. So I have a name on that too. What I'm trying to ask you is, and you're just acting acquiescent to the point, acquiescent meaning you're just ignoring it, is both of them sound remarkably the same. You're just telling us you believe Noah's Ark, and I can't argue with you about that. And I'm not interested in going on the Lion's Den, just to let you know. I'm not interested in going on that show, or it's amazing that I'm good friends with you, but I'm not interested in dialoguing with any of those brothers on there because they're very disrespectful. Because I'm not on here disrespecting you. I'm trying to keep the discourse very, very in a neutral position so we can have an intelligent discourse based upon what we're reading. It's called contextual, it's called reading in context. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to insult you, and if you took my words as an insult, I apologize. I just said you're being scholastically dishonest. That's not an insult. Go ahead, man.
Okay, it's not an insult, but it is an ad hominem argumentatus, nonetheless. And second of all, what I am doing here is putting things on an actual scholarship level, as opposed to here's my opinion about the Bible. I don't approach things like that. What Moses does is Moses puts the truth on the story. He attributes the flood account to Noah. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a poem that you find in other places. So the question is, who is the writer of this poem? You never even address that. That's one thing. Number two, look at the type of people we're talking about where you find this information. It's not found amongst the Hebrew Israelites. So what we have here is a conundrum, as I stated from the outset. We have a date that predates the writer of the biblical narrative. He says this goes back to Noah. He doesn't give us a date. But yet the date, whenever it was, let's just say it was 2200 BCE. Okay. And here's Moses. He comes along in the 18th century BCE. And if you care to give us another date for the birth of Moses, by all means do it. Thirdly, there are more than one Ramesses. There's more than one Ramesses. That's another thing. So that it would be, you create a false dichotomy when you say, well, this Ramesses was around Moses' time, so therefore the story of Noah don't exist. No, that's comparing apples to cars. What you have to do is go to Noah's story, see when the scholars, the scholastic community says he was born roughly, look at the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that will tell you whether the myth on either account fall on the same date. I say they do not fall on the same date at all, because we're dealing with a poetry.
Okay,
we're not dealing with a historical fact.
Okay, real quick, guys. Real quick, guys. We got to burn some of the stuff down, and we got to get hang on, guys. We got to burn some of the stuff down, and we can't be vague. And while we're on this platform, we can't be putting out, like, the thing about this is you actually try to put a date on Noah's birth, and like I said again, you are in the there's no telling the percentile out of place that you stand alone with trying for you to try to put a date on Moses's birth when modern scholarship does not have a date for Moses' birth. So I want us to burn this stuff down and come back to the baseline. Okay, so we can start there by fixing that. In my opinion, being generous, I think that it would be fair to the audience for you to say, you know what, I'm really not that sure, but this is a date that I'm going to use. At least be generous with that. Because when this information is coming out, you got to understand how things spread. I mean, you could have people running out there, you know, spreading this information, and that's how things get so far out of place. And I just think that being generous, and since we're dealing with scholarship, that you should take the time and opportunity to correct that right now.
I'm going to correct it one more time. Scholarship says Moses was born around 1730 something BC.
No, it doesn't. Modern scholarship says that
I don't know what the hell y'all.
Okay, well, listen. Let me just bring us in closer. Modern scholarship says that the time of Moses, and when you're talking about Egypt and those particular pharaohs, was the 12th dynasty. So, like I said, it's not that hard for us to come in closer with the information. We don't have to stay way outside and way out of bounds. We can come in close, and then we can look at the information, and we can work like the people who have already built the foundations on modern scholarship. And I'll give you the number again. Really, the number is right around the 12th dynasty. And if you really go look in antiquity and you go look at modern scholarship, that's where it's going to take you. So that's where we should be starting from. Okay?
If I can say something real quick. Let me say something real quick. From my notes here, it says the complete version that was found of the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? It said it's from 600 BC, right? And it says that the Moses writings is from 500 BC. So right there, that's the Epic of Gilgamesh, predating Genesis by 100 years.
Hey, can I give us all something else to look at as we try to just kind of like stay on the same baseline real quick?
Go ahead.
Just do something real fast. This ain't gonna be long at all, promise. But let's like I said, for me, it's really about us staying on pace and not going all over the place, you know. So, and like I said, like modern scholarship, okay. If you want the source, this is by a Joshua Mark. He wrote this in 2011. That's a source. People always say, "Where's your sources?" Go look at Joshua Mark, and I'm going to use this to start. Brother Chris brought up the Atharhasi, which for some reason nobody likes to address in this community, and it's greater than all of them. And Chris brought that out. Okay, the Atharhasi epic, the Great Flood and Meaning of Suffering. So let me just do something. Let me just grab a couple of details out of here, because I kind of want us to have, you know, like I said, at least a baseline that we can stand on and work on that conforms to modern scholarship. We don't have to go all over the place. A lot of this work has already been done for us, so we can rely on it and we can critique it as well. But let's kind of like stay. Yeah.
When he said there were several Ramses kings, right, they established the 19th dynasty, and that took place, all of them took place in the 13th century BCE, not the 18th century. So now your book has an anachronism right there in it, and you're off with your date on Moses.
Okay. Chris, remember yesterday I said that one of the reasons that us as a community, a lot of us struggle with this information. I told you two things. I said it was because we're not strong enough in biblical dating, and we are not strong enough with validating things that have made historical accounts. But let me just do this real quick. The Atharhasi, I'm just starting here at the top. The Atharhasi is the Akkadian Babylonian. This is exactly what Chris said. The Akkadian Babylonian epic of the great flood sent by the gods to destroy human life. Only the good man Atharhasi is the star character in this narrative, just like Moses is the star character in his. So you can't say that the Atharhasi is plagiarized from Genesis when this is far older. Let's find out how much older, right? His name translates as exceedingly wise. Remember this about Atharhasi, was warned of the impending deluge by the god Enki. These are gods from a different mythology that predate anything Abrahamic, and that's not up for debate. Okay, Enki, also known as Ea, who instructed him to build an ark, just as Chris said, to save himself. Atharhasi heeded the words of the god, loaded two of every kind, just like the Genesis account. But watch how, when we get to it, watch how far this precedes it. So it cannot be plagiarized from the Genesis flood account. The Genesis flood account plagiarized this, watch, to build an ark to save himself, etc., taking two of each kind to preserve life. Written down in the mid-17th century, as Chris just said, Atrahasis can be dated by the colophon to the reign of the Babylonian king Hammurabi. I just want to add one more thing to this. When you're talking about Hammurabi and his law, you also have a code of law here that predates the Torah, Pentateuch, and all that by over 1,000 years. In the code of Hammurabi, the great grandson Amni Saquata, 1646 to 1626 BCE, through the tale itself is considered, watch this, considered much older, passed down through oral transmission. The Sumerian flood story, as Chris also alluded to, the Sumerian flood story, known as the Eridu Genesis, which tells the same story. So the Sumerian flood story comes even after Atrahasis, which comes before Genesis, which tells the same story, is certainly older, composed 2300 BC. And tablet 11, which you guys were talking about, and they're not poems, and tablet 11 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which also relates to the tale of a great flood, is older than that. The Epic of Gilgamesh is older than the Sumerian flood story. The Epic of Gilgamesh was written 2150 to 1400 BC. All this stuff, this stuff has already been done for us, people. Like, we don't want to start and come out here and embarrass ourselves, man. Like, we can deal with some of the stuff that's already been written. We can critique the stuff. We can dig further. Okay, it's as simple as that.
Well, I gotta tell y'all something. That's not primary source evidence you read, number one. Number two, different scholars date the time of Moses and these epics and these writings at different times. The rabbinical sources don't even agree on the birth of Moses. So what we have here is you're trying to rely on scholars. You're trying to rely on modern scholars, secular scholars, to try to give us a date. And you want to pin yourself down to one of those scholars.
Oh, no, absolutely. I take the information in its entirety. I don't have a date on it, but we can look and we can see how close they all agree. I'll guarantee you. Okay, so you made it seem like they all pretty much have their own date. I'm telling you, if you go lay them if you go lay them down the line, they pretty much got the same dates for this stuff, man, or very, very close.
I don't see. I didn't come here to lay down a premise trying to prove something. The onus is not on me to prove anything about a date or time. All I'm saying is, one second out. All I'm saying to you is this. There's somewhat to look at. And I'm making more of the appeal to better reasoning. Just because the epic dates 2100 BCE, does that mean that Moses, let's say Moses was born in 1391 BCE. And I say after that, I say, well, see, it proves it. The biblical account is just a myth. That's a false dichotomy, isn't it? One thing does not prove or disprove another. That's not how we do scholarship. Nobody should be doing that. And this is and the stupid or dumb attacks come from. That's retarded. As a scholar myself, as a student of history, what I can say is this. What we find with Epic of Gilgamesh is it is a poetry. All right, I've wrote poetry before. If I wrote some poetry about Noah's flood, hey, we can put any date we want on. But does that mean that the biblical flood story is inaccurate? Does that render it myth? No. That's like trying to throw a rope on the moon and pull it down to earth. You can't do that. Nobody does that in scholarship. I'm sorry. Nobody does that.
Hold down for
Go
me.
ahead. I'm muted.
Once again, and I think you might need to stay muted for a while, because you just came after his scholarship saying he's using secular scholars.
No, I'm not.
You just said it.
You're still ad hominem, bro. Listen, you're going to have to stop attacking me first. I'm getting off this line.
Mute him.
I'm going to get off the line, bro. I'm going to have to get off.
You. All right, go ahead, Chris.
Okay. I'm letting him know what he just did. Now he gone. We all see what I'm
Yep.
saying.
That.
Y'all see what I'm saying?
Yep. That.
This is what I'm talking about. He's saying I'm ad hominem him, and I just said you just insulted. You just went after the so-called scholars he brought forth, Joshua Mark, who's a writer also for World History Online. He has his own. I think he's a contributing writer for World History Online, right? And he does a lot of periodicals and articles for that website. And you just said they're secular, but you have not named one. And you are making a claim based on cognitive dissonance. Listen to what I'm saying, that Moses existed sometimes in the 18th century. And that's not even a consensus. You didn't even show us a consensus report, not one time. But you want to holler out ad hominem attack. When you're only on here using a form of quote unquote arguendo to substantiate your premise. See, I can do all that big talk too, but you ain't saying shit. You just on here arguing with facts.
Yep. And he tried it before. He tried to get out of here before, and I caught it. And I put it up in the chat. What the hell I wrote? I wrote something. I can't see it. But basically, what he had did, he saw where he was caught, and he tried to start an argument with you. When he tried to insult you. You know what I mean? He tried to start an argument to start all the nigga talk. So when the nigga talk start, it drowns what they was talking about, what you were talking about earlier. So then when y'all stop arguing, it's like it's forgotten. You know what I mean? It's almost like a witchcraft they trying to pull over on your ass. Like
right.
they slick with that shit.
Right.
When
and what
start arguing.
Right. And notice, like I said, I don't fall for that kind of stuff, I was just like, okay, you didn't even come in discussing. What they try to do is they'll listen to my channel and try to do a Texas sharpshooter. You said the Bible is myth. It is. Can a donkey talk? No. Can a snake talk? No. Can trees talk? No. Can a man sleep in a fish or a whale? No. Right? Or how did all the animals get on that boat? No. All of these things are myths. Right? But you want to believe that these things actually happen. And I can go a lot deeper with when I talk about myth in this book. Can a man float up into the sky and sit on the right hand of God? No. That make him God. You see what I'm saying? These are allegories. And then he tries to do a Texas sharpshooter argument again and say, see, it's a poem.
Hey, Chris, let's take that a step further. If you're talking about a global flood account, those people were in one area. They don't know what happened around the rest of the world. Even if their one little area they were in was flooded, they don't know what happened around the whole entire world, period.
Mm-hmm. And this so-called flood, was it salt water or fresh water? Because there are some fish that can only live in salt water, and there are some fish that can only live in fresh water. What type of worldwide flood was this?
The analysis that have been done, what is it called? Simulations. The simulations that have been done for such an event, they show survival of almost anything, almost impossible because of, like you said, salt water. Nothing would have survived, regenerated at all because of the amount of salt water from the sea rising. Can't think of how high it would have been. I think it's 600 feet above, I think the highest mountain, Mount Everest or something like that, but nothing would have survived in the first place.
No, it wouldn't have. But when you begin to look at the breakdowns and the measurements of things like that, you'll see that it wasn't even that big of a flood. You see, you got all different types of floods. That these stories come from: the flooding of the Nile, the flooding of the Tigris, the flooding of the Euphrates. People in antiquity began to tell tales about these things. And instead of having an intelligent conversation, which I tried to do, I believe he was trying to do, it just, when I said Moses was born in the 18th century BCE, but Ramses is being mentioned in your biblical epic, I could have been all like this. Okay, so from 800, so you mean to tell me Moses is 500 years old by the time he got to the children of Israel and brought them up out of Egypt? He's 500 fucking years old. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves here. And when you hear this information, you hear a lot of conjecture, assertion. You hear a lot of bullshit in fluff. Nothing. He never dealt with the Peshitta. You see how all of them have different doctrines. I challenge you on the lion's den. B, what did I say I'm not doing? I'm not debating none of y'all. I don't want nothing to do with none of y'all on that channel.
And you got a line on here. He an Israelite, and he disagreeing with him.
He disagreeing with him. I'm not even insulting the book. I didn't even do that one time. Everybody heard me, did not insult the man. So like I said, we as Black people somehow want to be oppressed. We want to say, hey man, that's another ad hominem attack. Hey man, you can use all these debating phrases that you want. It fell flat because all I did was show that you just jumped on his sources and called them secular sources, but you in turn haven't presented any.
You should hear him in the chat where I got him from, right? He going crazy, typing a million comments a second.
Why'd he leave?
And talking junk. And it's
Why
talking.
B, why did he leave?
Calling this girly talk. Now, what kind of girly talk we had?
Why'd he leave?
Get in the den and sit outside like a good dog. Get in the
den. Just ask him, why did he leave?
Yeah.
Nobody cutting you off. I just said, hold on. You said ad hominem attack. Let's look up what an ad hominem attack is. Right? Let's look it up. Right? Ad hominem. It says an insult directed against a person rather than the position they are maintaining. I never did that. I never called you stupid. I never said you're a dummy. All I did was try and have an intelligent conversation. And this is what I'm saying. As you can see with these guys, they're very emotional.
Yeah.
Me and Trey are up here. We're reasoning with you using information, logic, history, and archaeological facts. You're just on here saying, no, none of that's real. Fine. I agree. That was my whole point, y'all. And I proved it. You want to say that's all fake and it's a myth, but your version is realer. But they parallel almost exclusively. They parallel damn near perfectly. I was trying to find that in my notes, my debates, when I debated one guy on the Gilgamesh and the Epic in Noah's Ark, and I beat him up real bad on that. It's almost parallel. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost parallel. And this is what we got to deal with, y'all. Trey, trying to show him Chris was right. The Atrahasis predates that. I just used the Gilgamesh. They have archaeological records of these poems, if you want to call them poems, fine, right? But they're still myths. They have archaeological records of this stuff already being found on clay tablets found in Nineveh. And then you come around and say, it's all fake. I agree. I agree. And you completely change the narrative of the program. But to our avail, you were wrong. Now you in the chat. Now you in the chat acting like a little chatty patty instead of having an intelligent conversation. This is why I don't want nothing to do with y'all, man. This is the exact reason why. I could have just let Trey go on and on again real quick. Now let's deal with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got not because y'all agree. And we'll make it real bad and stuff, right? The lady Tootie, she's in here, but her mic's not on, or I could let her in here, but her mic's not working. That was the thing saying. Use a mic or cam on to come on. But ask me, like, know me, the link and all that stuff, what it was about, and what I stood on and stuff, right? So he come in there with his big talk. So I said, I bet your ass will come up on here. And now he came up on here, and now he look like a fool trying to show off for the lady. So shout out to Sister Tootie. And she laughed at him. And you know that's the worst. When a woman laugh at your ass.
Nah.
Make you a damn fool.
Nah.
And now he put 60 comments in there since he left the show.
Right. And nobody kicked him off. Nobody kicked him off. And you know what, B? Since this happened the way it did, we can do. I want to let Trey get some information out because we're going to keep building here today. I want to read something because in the biblical narrative, it mentions Ramses, right? But notice he said this in order to try and come up against my what I was bringing forth. He said, yeah, the Bible mentions Ramses, but there are several Ramses, right? Okay, I agree. Look, look, we agree that there's several Ramses, right? But Ramses the first was the founding father of the 19th dynasty, which came around the 13th century BCE. He was the
King Seth.
What up, King? That's my man right there. What up, King Seth? What's going on, brother? That's my man right there.
Man, what's up, Chris? Man, I just watched that, man. I mean, I was listening to it. I mean, bro, this is starting to just brought out dates, names of civilizations that predate even fucking Abraham from being the first fucking Hebrew. So how I'm not understanding how in the hell did something that how in the hell
Unexplainable. That was unexplainable.
Bro, these people wrote this shit before Abraham even fucking existed. So
Unexplainable. That's unexplainable.
That's my fault, y'all.
Bro, these people wrote this shit.
Go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, it was getting the echo in my and it was messed up. But I'm saying I don't understand how something that was before can be plagiarized from something after.
Like, that's why I said he wasn't being generous. He wasn't being generous. I'm sorry. I'm not moving off of that. He wasn't being generous with that, man.
I mean, you mean authentic.
And then my thing is, the other guy, he read the Epic of Gilgamesh. He read it. He said, bro, animals 2 by 2, a flood on the earth, and such and all this. Then Chris, he goes into the Assyrian and then the Assyrian, and then the ones that dated it before with dates, artifacts, scholars, and everything else. You know, I mean, like I say, man, I mess with the lines there. You know, I'm a line there debater, but like I say, sometimes these conversations is getting really redundant and ridiculous.
No, King Seth, check it out. Check it out. Let me break this down to you because when I said what I said, I call out the lions. Then I wasn't talking about the heretics. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't talking about y'all. I was talking about them that came on there and called everybody out. Now, when I won the championship over there, including the MVP and the judges championship over there, I said, well, let me win this championship first and I'll get right back on where I was at. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with this information, breaking backs. So what they have been doing is they have just gone into this slander campaign against me. Cool. Thank you. I'm shaking both hands in the air like, thank you. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Slander me, punk me out. But now you got a chance to come on any platform and debate me. No disrespect to the Lions Den League, because anywhere where black men can get together and conversate, it's fine with me because we could be out there doing a lot worse. But I'm not coming over there because I don't want nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelite shenanigans. In Solar Vision, you have Hebrew Israelites, you got Christians, you got Scientologists, you have naturalists, you have pantheists, you have everybody over there debating one another. And there's no favoritism. You better come with your best debate and your best skill and win the damn debate. And that's where you got Moors, you got Muslims, you got everything. So you got Pan-Africanists and everything you have to present, you have to give some dates. That's what I do. You understand what I'm saying? I don't debate based on belief and rhetoric. I don't do that, dog. You know what I'm saying? So when he came on here, This was my lesson. I was talking about the Peshitta because James Cassell came on here and told some lies that weren't necessarily the truth when he brought up the Peshitta and the fact that there's no virgin birth narrative in there. He's correct on that, but he doesn't know why it's in there, and he's never done any research probably never done any research concerning the Aramaic Peshitta. They don't know what they're reading. They don't know why or what they're reading, and they don't know the tradition behind the literature being presented to them. You know what I'm saying? And the base of it and why it's being written the way it's written. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was on here doing. But Don Berger came on here saying, I got a problem with you saying the Bible is a myth. And what I did was I brought up the Gilgamesh and I said, okay, fine. You all can look at the Gilgamesh as being a myth that goes back to 2300 BCE, right? Y'all can say all of that is a myth, but you want to accept Noah's Ark as being literal when they parallel and contrast damn near perfectly. What makes your story real when the Gilgamesh is a known myth? The mythology of the Gilgamesh lines up directly with the mythology of Noah's Ark. You can't prove this thing ever existed.
He didn't, you know, I fuck with Don Bird, but you're right, he didn't answer that. And one thing I did notice about, he kept saying, I don't believe. Well, I don't believe. Well, I don't, bro, it's not about what you believe. It's about the information being forth, that's being brought forth. You see what I'm saying? We're not dealing, he was arguing on a biblical belief system.
And notice what I said.
When we're going off studies, experiments, scientific, we're going off of that.
Well, notice what I said. You never heard me once. Did you hear me insult him one time? You didn't hear it. I'm sitting here calm, listening to you, and you keep saying I'm dropping. Not one time. See, debating.
Not one time. But he up in that chat right now, cussing up a storm. Everything.
Man, my phone breaking up. I'm finna jump off. My phone breaking up, man. I can't hear. Okay. But I'm finna listen to y'all on YouTube, though.
Okay, bro. Thanks for stopping by, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, man. I love the morning coffee shows, man. I love them.
Yep. Another one bites the dust. Let's continue with that. The Peshitta. Continue with that. The Peshitta. We got one of these niggas out of the way.
Okay. All right. So when we were discussing the Peshitta, we see that it's a 5th century text. So that means it came 407. I'm sorry, a 3rd century text. I'm all over the place. Let me reread it. Now, the Peshitta itself, the Old Testament Peshitta, dates to the 3rd century BCE. The New Testament Peshitta dates to the 5th century AD. Okay? No, excuse me. Let me reread it. Let me just reread it. Of the vernacular versions of the Bible, the Old Testament Peshitta is second only to the Greek Septuagint in antiquity, dating probably from the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. The earliest parts in Old Syriac are thought to have been translated from Hebrew or Aramaic texts by Jewish Christians at Antioch, although the Old Testament Peshitta was later revised according to Greek textual principles. The earliest extant versions of the New Testament Peshitta date to the 5th century AD and exclude the 2nd letter of Peter, the 2nd letter of John, the 3rd letter of John, the letter of Jude, and the book of Revelations, which were not canonical in the Syrian church. They didn't accept those books. Those are important books being taken out of the Word of God. Let's deal with Theodore Barkanai. Now, Theodore Barkanai was a Syrian scholar and author of a noted collection of annotations on the entire Syriac Bible. The work is also an important historical theological source of Eastern religious sects during the 1st millennium of Christianity. A native of Iraq, or Kaskar, Iraq, Theodore was probably a monk in the Nestorian Christian church, a heretical group adhering to the teachings of the 5th century theologian Nestorius, who emphasized the human personhood of Christ while attenuating his divinity. Theodore's only extant work is the Liber Scholarium, or Book of Annotations, the Latin designation of a vast Syriac collection of observations and elucidations taking their point of departure from biblical passages, but developed into detailed considerations of philosophy, psychology, logic, and Eastern religions. Moving forward. Let's get this up. Let me pull this up here. Let's pull up the rest of the Peshitta here. Next thing here, because we're doing a brief history on the Peshitta, and anybody can come in here because I want all the smoke this morning. All right, I don't give everybody everything on how I'm gonna bust that ass, but anyway, now I'm gonna read this right here. It says the Peshitta once again is the standard version of the Bible for churches in the Syriac tradition, including the Maronite Church, the Chaldean Church, the Syriac Catholic Church, the Chaldean Catholic Church, the Syriac Orthodox Church, the Syrio-Malankara Catholic Church, Assyrian Church of the East, and the Syrio-Malabar Catholic Church. Nowhere are any Israelites being mentioned here. These are all different traditions in which this book was supposedly common in these church traditions. That's why it's called common or simple. The consensus within biblical scholarship, though not universal, is that the Old Testament of the Peshitta was translated into Syriac from Hebrew, probably in the 2nd century AD. Holy shit, we back in the AD again. And that the New Testament of the Peshitta was translated from the Greek. So what he brought forth was nothing but a translation from Greek into Aramaic. It's not an original version, in other words. It's original because the person translated it, but it was translated from the Greek. This is the argument here. This New Testament, originally excluding certain disputed books, 2 Peter, 2 John, 3 John, Jude, and the book of Revelations, have become a standard by the early 5th century. The 5 excluded books were added in the Heraclean version, which was 616 AD of Thomas of Harkale. However, the 1905 United Biblical Society, the 1905 United Bible Society Peshitta used new editions prepared by the Irish Syriacist John Gwynn for the missing books. So you got a lot of adding and redacting and taking away and adding in to the so-called Word of God. How do you know what's true and what's not? This is the history of your Peshitta. Let's continue on. All right. Let's finish up here. Now, the Peshitta had from the 5th century onward a wide circulation in the East and was accepted and honored by a whole diversity of sects of Syriac Christianity. It had a great missionary influence. The Armenian and Gregorian versions, as well as the Arabic and the Persian, owe not little to the Syriac. The famous Nestorian tablet of Chang'an witnessed to the presence of the Syriac scriptures in the heart of China in the 8th century AD. The Peshitta was first brought to the West by Moses of Mendine, a noted Syrian ecclesiastic, that's a church father, who unsuccessfully sought a patron for the work of printing it in Rome and Venice. Now, why was it not allowed there? Because by then the ecumenical councils have already established who Jesus was. And in this version, they're saying, nope, the virgin birth's not in here. We don't want it. Now, that's an educated guess. But the ecumenical councils have already decided the canon and what it's going to be. And this differs from their orthodoxy. Y'all see how this works? God damn, Chris Harris is fucking good. Let's continue on. And let me also let you all know that the ecumenical council, they say the first one supposedly happened in 50 AD in the Jerusalem council. They don't have a lot of proof, but they take that based on the eyewitness accounts in the Bible, which can be taken for a grain of salt at this point. And they were all arguing the divinity of this man named Jesus Christ, Peter and all of them. Moving forward. The Peshitta was, I lost my spot. Okay, however, he was successful. This is the man that brought it to Rome. It says, however, he was successful in finding such a patron in the imperial chancellor of the Holy Roman Empire in Vienna in 1555. At Vienna in 1555. Albert Windmanstadt. Okay, I'm scrolling down here. I'm reading a lot here. He undertook, I've skipped, forgive me. However, he was successful in finding such a patron in the imperial chancellor of the Holy Roman Empire at Vienna. He undertook the printing of the New Testament, and the emperor bore the cost of the special types which had to be cast for its issue in Syriac. Now, a man named Emmanuel Tremulus, the converted Jew whose scholarship was so valuable to the English reformers and divines, made use of it, and in 1569 issued a Syriac New Testament in Hebrew letters. In 1645, the Edito Principes of the Old Testament was prepared by Gabriel Cianata for the Paris Polyglot. And in 1657, the whole Peshitta found a place in Walton's London Polyglot. So you see, the Peshitta was put together through different traditions, and some people accepted it and some people didn't. Now let's deal with this, continue dealing with the New Testament Peshitta. Now, when the earliest extant New Testament Peshitta text, the Caborius Codex, was found, the news article, U.S. Library gets an ancient Bible, appeared in the New York Times on March 26, which is my birthday, 1955, reporting on the oldest known New Testament Bible written in the language used by Christ, which was Aramaic. We're going to deal with this. The article noted that it was taken to the White House where President Eisenhower viewed it. The codex was said to be insured for an hour and a half. The amount was $1.5 million. This discovery challenges the long-held idea that the Peshitta were written after the Greek and Hebrew texts, and lending credence to the minority viewpoint held by the church in the East, which itself states to be in possession of the New Testament scriptures as handed down by the apostles themselves. In a detailed examination of Matthew 1 through 14, Willem found that the Peshitta agrees with the Textus Receptus only 108 times and with the Codex Vennaticus 65 times, while in 137 instances it differs from both, usually with the support of the Old Syriac and the Old Latin, and in 31 instances it stands alone. So they're saying all these variations exist from the Peshitta to the New Testament, the Codex Receptus, the Codex Vaticanus, and all these other versions. It's not the same. So it's not the word of God. None of this shit is. None of it is. You have one group of people that say, oh, it was copied from the Greek and put into Aramaic, and they called it the Peshitta for the Eastern Orthodoxy. And then you have another group saying no, this is the oldest. There's no consensus right now. You just go there. Some people go there that don't want to believe in the virgin birth because there's a mythological element to that. So they'll go to the Peshitta to sit up there and say, oh, no, we don't believe in the virgin birth. That's pagan. Admitting a mythological element in the King James Version of the Bible, which John Bird could not produce today. He didn't want to admit it. That's all that's going on here. To this end, and in reference to the originality of the Peshitta, the words of the patriarch Shimon Ashai are summarized as follows. With reference to, quote, the originality of the Peshitta text as the patriarch and the head of the Holy Apostolic and Catholic Church of the East, we wish to state that the Church of the East received the scriptures from the hands of the blessed apostles themselves in the Aramaic original, the language spoken by our Lord Jesus Christ himself, and that the Peshitta is the text of the Church of the East, which has come down from the biblical times without any change or revision. This is what they're saying, because this text was different from the rest of the text. So they held their text above the Codex Sinaiticus, against the Codex Vaticanus, and the Textus Receptus. They were saying ours is more special than yours. So they felt like they had the advantage. This is what cults do. No matter if you're at the Osiris cult, the Isis cult, the Tahuti cult, they're all cults because they teach the secret things. And felt like we're in a Christian nation and we got God's scriptures. This is what a cult leader does. And this is what he's implying here. Let's continue on, and I'm gonna get done here. All right? Because I want to deal with Josephus now. Let me pull this up. Now, Josephus, we all know, was a Jewish historian, testified that Aramaic was widely spoken and understood accurately by the Parthians, Babylonians, the remotest Arabians, and those of his nation beyond the Euphrates. This is what he says. I have proposed myself for the sake of such as live under the government of the Romans to translate those books into the Greek tongue, which I formerly composed in the language of our country and sent to the upper barbarians. Joseph, the son of Matthias, by birth a Hebrew, a priest also. Uh-oh. This is Josephus. Trey, where you at? This is what Josephus said. He was a priest. Not from the tribe of Judah, because Judah cannot be priest, only Levi can. Let's continue on. Joseph, son of Matthias, by birth a Hebrew, a priest also, and one who at first fought against the Romans myself and was forced to be present at what was done afterwards. I am the author of this work. This is the Jewish Wars, Book 1. This is what Josephus says. So he's saying back around 37 AD to 44 AD, he translated it into the Greek for them. So in the 2nd century AD, they translated it from the Greek and put it back into Aramaic. Boom, that's how you read with comprehension. So that's why I keep saying it can't be the word of God, because Greek is not written with the same thing as Aramaic is, because you have a male-female construct in Aramaic. Greek is not so. Let's deal with the Aramaic language. And I'm going to show y'all something. Pull this article up right here. Here we go. No. Where's the? Okay, here we go right here. This is the Aramaic language here that you guys are reading in these texts that you guys say is the word of God. And it is. Aramaic is the language or group of languages of the ancient region of Syria. It belongs to the Northwest Semitic group of the Afro-Asiatic language group family. Let's pause right there and understand what Afro-Asiatic means. It just means the languages found in this area. That's it. Within Africa and the so-called East region of the Levant. That's all. That don't mean it's necessarily black. It's just showing Afro-Asiatic, black and Asiatics. You know, they tried to come in here and separate every damn thing. Anyway, moving on. Which also includes the Canaanite languages such as Hebrew, Amorite, Edomite, Moabite, and Phoenician, as well as Ugaritic. The Aramaic alphabet was widely adopted for other languages and is ancestral to the Hebrew, Syriac, and Arabic alphabets. We got a problem with that. We got a problem with that. We have a huge problem with that, people, because the Aramaic language, as we read right here, was founded by, let's read. Historically and originally, Aramaic was the language of the Aramaeans, a Semitic-speaking people of the region between the northern Levant and the northern Tigris Valley. By around 1st millennium BCE, the Aramaians had a string of kingdoms, which is now part of the Syria, Jordan, and the fringes of southern Mesopotamia and Anatolia. Aramaic rose to prominence under the Neo-Assyrian Empire around 911 to 605 BCE, under whose influence Aramaic became a prestige language after being adopted as the national lingua francas of the empire, and its use spread throughout Mesopotamia, the Levant, and parts of Asia Minor. At its heights, variants of Aramaic havingly gradually replaced earlier Semitic languages and were spoken all over what is today Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Eastern Arabia, Bahrain, the Sinai, and parts of the southeast and south central Turkey and parts of northwest Iran. Aramaic was the language of Jesus, who spoke the Galilean dialect during his public ministry, as well as the language of the large sections of biblical books of Daniel, Ezra, and also one of the languages of the Talmud. The scribes of the Neo-Assyrian bureaucracy had also used Aramaic, and this practice, together with other administrative practices, was subsequently inherited by succeeding the Neo-Babylonians and the Achaemenids. Mediated by scribes that had been trained in the language, highly standardized written Aramaic. progressively also become the lingua franca of trade and commerce throughout the Achaemenid territories, which extended as far as the Indus Valley. Aramaic's long history and diverse and widespread use has led to the development of many divergent varieties, which are sometimes considered dialects, though they have become distinct through enough over time that they are now sometimes considered as separate languages. Therefore, there is not one singular static Aramaic language. Each time and place rather had its own variation. The more widely spoken Eastern Aramaic and Mandaic forms are today largely restricted to Assyrian Christian and Median Gnostic communities in Iraq, northern Syria, northwestern Iran, and southern Turkey, whilst the severely endangered Western Neo-Aramaic is spoken by small communities of Aramaians in northwestern Syria. So the group of Aramaians, who I tell everybody are nothing but Amorites, because Deuteronomy 26:5 say their daddy was an Aramaean, right? The language itself comes from them, not from God. That's where it comes from. Boom. So when you ran to the Peshitta to try and show some type of holy language, I just showed you your holy language come from a group of people called the Aramaians. So y'all run to these little funny languages in order to prove a point that you can't stand on. I'm done.
Malachi need to come up on here, man.
Malachi that shit.
Yeah, Malachi, he said that's the New Testament. The Tanakh ain't got any different info. It ain't been changed. And a Peshitta is a way of writing that gives information to those who know how to read it. I don't know that last one. It says the Greek is the second holy language next to Hebrew. That's why it was allowed to write this stuff. So Malachi can come up on here
and show me an original Hebrew text. Because if you can show me an original Hebrew text, I'll really shut the fuck up. Because there's no such thing as a Hebrew language.
You're gonna be waiting forever, man. Because the first thing that we got when it comes to these writings is the Septuagint. So you'll be waiting forever.
That's all I'm saying. We waiting. We waiting. And there's nothing wrong with it.
And was y'all gonna shift gears? Hey, Chris, remember what I sent you this morning? I got 100 of those, man.
Go ahead, knock yourself out. That's why you're here.
Y'all want to get into the Jesus paralleling Moses being a savior to Israel the way Moses.
Yes. I was gonna do the same thing. I got tons of information. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
We just start with that one. I'll go grab a few more. Just go get that first one that I had sent you.
So one of the things when we were Old Testament Israelites, what we used to do is we used to always say that the Greek book, which is the New Testament, which is proven, which everything I just read, is nothing but a bastardized version of the Old Testament. And there are many typologies and parallels with Jesus versus Hebrew patriarchs of the Bible. There are many parallels with the things he do and the things that they had done. And I'm going to read a couple of them, all right? Because I remember I did a lesson on this, and I got tons of information on this, right? Now, in the Old Testament, the Jewish tradition past the scriptural interpretation held that there would be a Messiah from the house of David, descended from Abraham. I'm reading what I have here. Now, Genesis 12:3, 18:18, Isaiah 9:7, the Messiah would be a star out of Jacob, which is Numbers 24:17, and a branch from Jesse, Isaiah 11:1. Now, the New Testament in the genealogies in Luke, which are not the same, Jesus is said to have descended from Abraham, and David. The genealogies also list Jacob and Jesse as Jesus' ancestors. So you're seeing these parallels begin to start. Now, oh no. That's the wrong one. I'm on the wrong lesson here, y'all. My bad. That's my fulfillment. I'm sorry, y'all. That's my fulfillment. That's my Jesus fulfilling the Old Testament. Back when I was a Christian, I'm reading the wrong thing. My bad. That's embarrassing. I'm reading the wrong. Oh man, I'm reading the wrong shit to y'all. My bad. Oh, that was fun.
You mean to tell me you just went all the way back to when you was a Messianic Hebrew?
Boy, man, I was sitting there like, what am I doing here, man? Oh man, go ahead, Trey. Let me find these notes, man. See if I got them over here, man.
We just hold on a second. And I said we got many of them, but since we just got a little bit of time this morning, let's just grab this quick one right here real fast. And it's the one that I shared with you this morning. But
I can learn to understand you much better if I can.
Shut up.
Okay, I'm ready when you are. I'm ready when you are, because I'm gonna do it. I got a bunch of them, and I also parallel Old Testament text with Old Testament text also in these so-called.
We're just gonna put this one out there first. Do a quick little explanation of it, and then I'll let you drop one, and I'll come back with another one. But we'll see. It's kind of, it might be hard to see this. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I'm gonna put it on like 40 or something so people can see it. That's probably too much. But you know, people will say, oh, okay, well, what does that have to do with anything? But I said, you know what? I have found some fun and joy when I really started looking at the different parallels between Jesus. Let me see if it'll go. Between Jesus and Moses. You know, of course, like I was just alluding to, yeah, he is a character type. Chris just mentioned typology. They used, when it comes to the New Testament, they used typology. They used the structure that was already there in the Old Testament and pulled that stuff into the New Testament to make many of the characters, including Jesus. So one example here that I was just laughing at this morning, this is a parallel story actually, but Exodus 4:19 and YHWH, Yahweh, Yahuwah, whatever name you want to give him. And YHWH said to Moshe in Midian, go return to Mizraim. And then this is what he said. This is why. For all the men are dead who sought your life. And then that's plagiarized and is brought into Matthew, which they're saying is the first book in the New Testament, which is not. Most scholars agree that it's not. I'm just saying most scholars agree that it's not. Most scholars agree that Mark was probably written first.
Yep.
Plagiarized into Matthew and the story of Christ and his mom saying, arise to Mary, arise and take the child and his mother and go into the land of Israel, for those seeking the life of the child are dead. It said the same exact thing as was told to Moses in Exodus, verbatim, those seeking the life of the child are dead in Matthew. That was one of the more funny ones that I had found. But like I said, I got a few of them, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass it, turn to Cheryl.
Now, one of the things I used to always say is when you're reading this book, there are many different traditions in the book. And one of them is this Savior archetype dealing with Egypt. Now, when you look at the story of Joseph, what happens with Joseph? He rises to a high position in the Egyptian government with his what? His beauty and wisdom, right? Would everybody agree with that? I'm pretty sure you would. That's what it says. Now, when you get the story of Esther and Mordecai, what did she do? She rises to the high position in the Persian government through her what? Beauty and wisdom. Now, Esther is the savior of the Jews during the Persian period. Joseph was the savior of the Jews during the Egyptian period. So we see these different somewhat captivities here going on. So we're gonna look at, I'm gonna present to you all some typology here that you all begin to see the savior archetype. Maybe tomorrow I'll do the lawgiver archetype. But these archetypes are affluent throughout these scriptures, all right? Because everything's being written at different times. Now, Joseph's good deed was for doing what? Interpreting a dream, right? And it's forgotten for a long time. Esther, with Mordecai's good deed, saving the king's life, remember? Y'all know that story? Is forgotten for a long time. Now, let's go to Joseph in Genesis 38:10. It says, the character refuses to listen, and she spoke to Joseph every day, but he refused to listen. And Esther 3:4, the character refuses to listen. Once again, same archetype. They told him every day, but he refused to listen. It's right there. Now, when you look at the chief of the Pharaoh, he was hanged because of Joseph's dream. And when you look at the dream that happened with Mordecai and Esther, what happened? The chief servant was hung. Right? Now, what does Joseph do after a while to the king of Egypt? Right? His brothers come in. We know the story. He revealed his identity to the Pharaoh after the feast. What happens with Esther? She reveals her identity to the king after the feast. This is how these texts run parallel with each other throughout the biblical narrative. I want to show some more because I was going to do a debate about this, but the guy dropped out of it, right? He dropped out of the debate. Now, in Genesis 45 through 50, Joseph takes old Israel down to Egypt, right? The patriarchs, right? But in Matthew 2:13, Joseph brings new Israel down to Egypt. Exodus chapter 1, the Pharaoh, who's never named, by the way, massacres the boys. In Matthew 2:16, Herod massacres the boys. In Exodus chapter 4, all the men are dead. In Matthew 2:20, all the children are dead. Exodus chapter 12, from Egypt to Israel. Matthew chapter 2, verse 21. From
Chris,
Egypt to Israel.
just hold on 1 second. You could keep going, but just so that people could see what you're reading, I'm gonna throw it up on the screen for us. Keep going, and then I'm gonna just come right behind you so that they can see what they recognize.
Thank you, because I can't pull it up. I got it on through my phone here.
I'm gonna do it right. You know what? Actually, just pause for a minute, and then you could kind of you're going down the same list that I am right now, even though it's the exact same information. Hang on, it's the exact same information. But just check this. Hold on a second. So I mean, and that's shocking. And like I said, what's the part about it that's most difficult for me is that this information is available to us, and it's been pretty much it's vetted because we're actually using we're actually using the Bible as the source for this. We didn't even really have to go, extra biblical. So can you see the screen?
No.
You can't see the screen right now?
Nope.
Let me try it again. Hold on. Let's just stop. Hold on. There.
I read a book called This was a lot in part because I read a book. I was reading a book that made me look deeper into this.
What about now?
Messiah. I can't see it.
Can't see it now?
Nope.
Okay, let me see. Stop. Hold on. What about now?
No, I can't see it.
You can't see my screen? Why is it not working?
My bad. I'm outside looking for my damn pizza to go. My bad. Go ahead. Put the screen thing back up there. I put it up. My bad. I didn't see it.
Let me see if it works. This is the same list Chris is going out. Can you see it now?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Chris, can you see it?
Hold on, let me take a look. I ain't never seen this list. What list you got up here?
This is your
Yeah,
list. This is your list.
okay, yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Okay, so everything, as you can see, it says that Joseph in Exodus 16 was tempted by bread. Jesus, chapter 4, verse 4, was tempted by bread. Joseph in the Old Testament do not tempt God. Jesus says, do not tempt God. Exodus 32, Joseph says, worship only God. Matthew 4 and 10, Jesus says, worship only God. So we see this type of Savior archetype happening throughout the Old Testament and New Testament. Now, I'm going to freestyle some of this stuff off my head now. In the Old Testament, you have Elijah who battles with the priests. In the New Testament, you have Jesus who battles with the priests, right? Albeit not the same. Elijah killed them all. Jesus does not do that. That's why we love Jesus. In the Old Testament, Elijah heals a girl who is dead. He raises her from the dead. In the New Testament, Jesus raised a girl from the what? From the dead. In the Old Testament, Elijah ascends into heaven on a whirlwind. In the New Testament, Jesus ascends into heaven. Ironically, in two different spots. Some people said he did it at Bethany, and some people say he did it in Galilee. And that shit's almost damn near 500 miles apart. Just to let y'all know. Haha. That's just something I wanted to add it. So what you see is a Savior archetype throughout this Bible.
Using
right?
typology.
It's using typology. They continue to write the same stories again and again and again. Jesus fasts for 40 days. Moses goes into the mountains for 40 days.
There's many more. There's many more. It's easy work, man.
You see what I'm saying?
Let's see what else I got.
So,
yeah, man. So yeah, man, this is like
that's what we call the Savior. That's what we call the Savior archetype, because you have different people writing in different traditions. You even see it with Moses and Joshua. Joshua crosses the river, right? Moses crosses the ocean, right? You see it all. You see it throughout the scriptures. And Joshua is a northern hero. If you know anything about biblical literacy, he's a northern hero. He's Northern Kingdom. He was from the tribe of Ephraim. So they wanted a tradition also of a lawgiver. Moses writes the law on 2 tablets. Joshua writes it on 2 tablets. It goes on and on throughout the Bible constantly. And if you can't see it, that's because you're being blind and you're probably being led by a cult leader. Joseph is sold. We forgot to add this one. Joseph is sold by his brother Judas. Jesus is betrayed by his boy Judas. Or Judah, excuse me. Joseph was sold by Judah, and Jesus was betrayed by Judas. So we see these same typologies going on and on and on. So, yo, B, I went looking for my man's comments in there. I didn't see none of his comments. I must be too late on the show.
Nah. It was in Ivory's chat. You know the chat where they got all the dummies and shit in it?
Oh, wait, you mean to tell me? Okay, wait a minute. You mean to tell me, check this out. So you mean to tell me they were simulcasting this?
Nah, it was in what? I think this Ivory chat. I'm in all these like chat people that be making groups and stupid shit. So I think
okay.
Ivory.
Well, I hope he come listen. I hope all of them come over here and listen to it so they can see how he embarrassed himself. We got receipts.
Yep. We got all the receipts. The sister Tootie that just dropped off, she had to get back to work. She said you guys did a good job. So, yep. And said hopefully Don Bird can get together again with us and shit and have it get further into it. But you know that ain't gonna happen.
I ain't gonna come on here and check with Mr. MVP, champion of the league, MV3. Ain't nobody gonna do that. He gonna do that. He ain't gonna do that. Couldn't handle this smoke.
Chris, how many titles did you win?
Huh?
We got Michael.
How many titles have you won?
I won all 3 of them.
Oh, good. Okay, 3P. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I won the MVP all in 1 year. I won the MVP, champion, and the Judge's Choice Award. Hey B, can you hear me? Yo B, can you hear me? Okay. I don't think he can hear me.
Got be heard?
Yeah, now you can. What's going on?
Yeah, I said Michael Edwards talking shit as usual, shit, but not doing nothing. This
You
Bart.
talking about over there on Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, I
Bart.
listened to. Did you remember that video that he put up? Notice he took it down, right?
He took it down?
Yeah, Shaka almost stomped him in that video. I watched it. I knew I seen that before. Shaka almost stomped him in that.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
Yeah, I was just like, why he putting that up thinking he won that, man? Do you just want to be seen on Side Meta?
It's like a fucking mind fuck. That's what it is. They do stuff like that to make it look like they win. Because you know people are lazy. They're not gonna watch that video.
Yeah.
They just get a word for it. Just like this nigga, right? Soon as he got his ass whipped, he went back in that Facebook chat and typed like 200 goddamn comments in the chat.
Put the video in the chat and let everybody listen for themselves so they can hear that I was doing nothing but being intelligent.
I said, I put the video up. I said, look at Don, a.k.a. Don and Out. Get smoked.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. Don and Out. I like that one. That's a good one. Well, you remind me of my old. You just reminded me of the old Tour Nights days when you did that.
It's crazy. I know
Oh,
what's
man.
wrong with them.
Oh, that was
That's
a
what
good
they all. They'll be like, they'll get their ass whipped, and then they wanna, like Michael Edwards did, and like whatever his name Cassell did. What they'll do, they'll put a whole bunch of comments to push back the truth. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Like I put up the video, so he had to type like 40 comments to get that shit pushed up, knowing people not read all that shit and just take his word for it. And then Yashar had to put his 2 cents in.
Another dummy. Another flunky, man. Got kicked up got put up out the league for being ignorant, and he went right on over there with them same ignorant precepts that they think they teaching something. Y'all not teaching nothing, man. We up on all that. You know what I'm saying? And notice I only gave a brief history of the Peshitta because I just started studying it yesterday. I said, let me study this thing here and see what's going on here. And what I'm reading, bro, it's like you reading from a different tradition. None of that shit is even the Israelite tradition. Now they'll try and make the move and say, oh, Israelites was there, but that don't mean shit. You see what I'm saying? You just can't sit up there and impose your view into a narrative. You can't do that. And that's what Don was doing on here when Trey was like, no. We're not going to do that. Either you come with the original text that prove your story is older, or you just doing a bunch of hearsay. And they start moving that goalpost. That's when the practice of that goalpost start getting moved around. And that's where Trey caught him at. Like, no, man, we're not gonna act like he just didn't show you this. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's what we got going on right now, man. That is like, yo, man, this stuff got to stop, man. This is becoming ridiculousness. And like I said, I kept it very cordial because I've learned, like, B, what have we learned since doing this show? Be calm, relax. They'll begin to hang themselves. That's it. We'll begin to recover when we give them their book back. I didn't agree with Trey when he said that at first, but now I agree with you on that, Trey. I agree with you 100% on that. Give him his book back. Give him his book back. Give him his fucking book back. Throw this motherfucking shit away. You don't need it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ain't know they was up in there doing all that, man. But that's all right. You know, the heretics is up in there. They gonna tell them like, Chris said, calm with you.
Let me do something real quick, man. Some of this stuff, like as I look back, like I said, I've been far removed from this after I had really start putting a whole lot of work into it. Just running back over to Josephus real quick. This is the second book. This is not Antiquities. This is War. And I was just this picture right here is about a few years old, and when I look at this, it just kind of gives me a snapshot to where I was at least, and how in that community they just like I can understand you know you want to be able to identify with something, right? Identify, especially with these people plight. But you look at this. This is from Josephus, right? From the great extremity to which the Jews were reduced to the taking of Jerusalem by Titus. Now, we heard about this when this is kind of like elementary when you come into the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, you know, the things that Titus and Vespasian did. But my thing is that when I went deep into it, like I probably spent maybe 6 to 8 months just on Titus and Vespasian and the War of the Jews. Probably 6 months strictly study on that. And like I said, when it was all said and done, I was just shocked that our people, they really believed that this was them, that they were overrun by these people, by Titus, by Vespasian. And if you notice, they don't know any of the other names. So what I did in my studies during that time, like I said, I had almost dedicated just a year to this portion. And I went back and I got all of the emperors of Rome. Guess what I came to find out after that?
What's that?
Probably 90% of them was homosexuals. I would come to joke and I would say, for real, y'all out here telling our people that they got overran by a pack of homosexuals? Your people ain't never got overran by Rome. There was some other people that got sacked by Titus and Vespasian. And do they even know why Titus was sent? Nero sent Titus and Vespasian because I can't think of his name. The emperor that came before these two lost. The thing about it, like I tell in that, and this is not an attack on them. Everything that I put out is for them to see and open their eyes. They actually won the first Jewish-Roman war. They won it and ran the Romans out of their cities, out of Jerusalem. They re-upped and came back with the baddest dude. They actually took Titus out of another war that he was already winning with the Parthians. They took him out of that and brought him over here to this war to put him in charge. It's just that, like, our people really think that this got something to do with them, man. You know?
Well, remember, when they're talking about the Savior concept or anything else that they bring to you and put it on your doorstep, I always tell them, well, they thought Bar Kokhba was a Messiah also because he was actually out there whooping ass. You see what I'm saying? That's why I try to keep it, that's why I try to get them to focus and see the mythological comment that the Bible is presenting. We used to do the same shit. Oh, you don't understand. We used to do all that shit. But then once you free your mind from that shit, once y'all begin to free your mind from that stuff, man, you don't have nothing to worry about, man. There's nothing to worry about, man. Like, I'm worried more about the police being militarized now than any of this shit. I stayed up to 3 o'clock last night reading and studying like 4 or 5 different topics. I'm gonna destroy this David thing real quick. I'm getting ready to do that. Some morning coffee with Chris Killah B and afternoon tea with Trey Hampton. Shit, David finna get destroyed. I'm finna tombstone David. I'm gonna show y'all where all this shit come from with David. I'm gonna show you the traditions that David come from. I'm gonna show you all that shit. I'm done.
It's
And I
about time.
back it up. I back that shit. Oh, I broke up?
No, I said it's about time.
Yeah, I'm about to show all this shit. There ain't no goddamn David. He never existed. He's an amalgamation of Egyptian tales. That's it. And I'm gonna show everybody this shit. Why is it that Israel, you got two kingdoms, and Egypt, you got supposedly two kingdoms, upper and lower than Egypt? Why is that? Y'all own nation ain't even original. And then the Israelites, they didn't know the kingdom of Samaria under they ain't know nothing about being no damn Solomon and none of that shit. They never wrote about that shit. They never wrote about it. So now that we're getting older and we're getting wiser, we should be able to be discerning these things a lot better than what we're doing and stop trying to stay on this shit, run around with these cocted practices. I'm gonna tell you again, Don Bird, or any one of you Lions Den brothers out there, right? If you want to debate me on anything, you come over there to SVDL, or you come on my channel, or you come right here, and you come right on here and get smoked just like this. That was a 1, 2, 3 easy for me. You don't get smoked just like that. Calm, cool, and collect. Same thing with Judah Nazareth, Miss AKA Root Chakra Gary. He'll get smoked over here or on his channel. I'm not debating no New Testament, and I could debate the New Testament and smoke these Old Testament Israelites. Easy. Y'all are, you Israelites are dishonest, man. I wouldn't trust you with a set of balloons. That engine sound good. Trust these niggas with a set of balloons, man. Y'all can have it, man. I'm just chilling, man. I'm good.
Like I said, it's indoctrination, and we all been there. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
unfortunately for Killah B, he stayed in it for 20 years. 20 years of your life that you can't get back.
22 years I can't get back. Man,
Hey, look.
Hey, bro,
B.
do you know how much money that cost you, bro? You probably lost 20 million.
Yeah, for real. I lost the career, lost the wife, lost all that.
Hey, look, and B had a badass Ethiopian queen too. Lost her.
Hey, y'all want to hear something, bro? When I was coming about, I had to drag my wife up out of it too. We all didn't make it, man. But she came with me like, all right, baby, that's some bullshit.
She started figuring that shit out, didn't she?
She finally just listened to me. But when I first said, you know what, I done came too far, you know what I'm saying? Like I just got too much information, and I no longer believe in any of these Abrahamic fairy tales. She was like, well, so you don't believe in the Bible no more? And I was like, no. Just like that, we can't be together. I said, fuck it. So we had a tough couple days, and then she sat down and thought about it. And I had been dropping so much shit on her. She was like, you know what? That's what it is. You know, that shit almost cost me my wife. Shit. So Killah, I feel you. That's disastrous, man. To hear that.
No, I wasn't married. I didn't get a wife. That's what I'm trying to say. But you know what though? I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't take it back. You know why? I wouldn't be able to stay if it was. You know how many other motherfuckers and shit?
I would have to
caught up in this. We wouldn't be out here talking about this right now.
Right, and that's why I always say I wouldn't take it back too. But I did lose a business. I had a school where I was teaching online, stocks, trading, all that kind of stuff, financial. Where I had a school I was teaching online, and I was pumping through students, and I was making a lot of money. And then when I came into the Hebrew Israelite thing, I left the business alone. So that's why when I processed, your brother probably lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money.
A lot of time, education, you name it. But all down over that quote.
But I learned a lot, though. I learned a lot. I'm thankful that I learned the New Testament up and down. I learned the Old Testament up and down. I learned world history. I learned a whole lot of Greek and Roman history. I learned a whole lot. I learned about the ancient Near East. I learned about, like I was talking about yesterday, I learned about the 70 sons of El. I learned a whole lot. So that's invaluable too. But I lost that. What's most valuable is the time that you can't get back.
Hello, can I be heard?
Everett's getting mad now. He talking. God gonna show us the truth about us. So you know what that means.
Oh, wait a minute. Who said that?
Michael Evers.
Tell Michael, hey, look, like I said up there said, when I asked him what makes you think Abraham was real, he put that video up. He said, I already debated people way smarter than you, Chris Harris. Don't nobody even know who you is. But you mentioned me by my name. Got you. Thanks, Mike. I done beat him up many times in them comment boards anyway. Like, if you listen to that conversation him and Shaka was having, he was trying to synchronize history with some Jewish amulet. Michael, Shaka almost like, brother, what are you doing? And this is the type of information that they present to everybody. They present this nonsense to everybody. You think I care about Michael Edwards? He a RBG Hebrew. It don't get no sillier than that.
Yeah.
If he don't want to have a intelligent discourse, hey, fine. But you'll run your ass on Sonnetter and have one, though, would you? Because you think that's giving you FaceTime. Don't nobody even look at your channel.
Yeah.
Davon Mays destroyed Michael Edwards on Debate Talk for You Radio.
Yeah.
Like this stuff don't, like, you Hebrews, your most low ain't gonna do nothing. Nah. Fuck your most low. And fuck Abraham and his 3 wicked ass sons. There it is. No respect for none of that shit. Joseph should have stayed his ass up out of Egypt. I just said it. Now what?
Yeah.
Come on here. Let's deal with that shit. You come on here talking that old bullshit, talking about some Moses born in the 18th century BCE. Then when I call you on that and I say, well, Ramses is mentioned right here, any goddamn historian would know Ramses the First was the one that brought in the 19th dynastic period, and that shit didn't happen during the 18th fucking century BCE. We and 200 years later, we was barely holding on to Egypt after they left.
Yeah.
You had pharaohs drinking, getting drunk, doing whatever the fuck they wanted. Egypt wasn't all perfect. But you come with that bullshit date. Then try to give a date for Noah's Ark. Man, is you silly? Christians up here talking about the flood happened around 2400 BCE. Well, goddamn it, we got pyramids older than that shit. Debunked right there. Exodus debunked. Nigga, they still building. They building temples in goddamn Egypt at the time of this so-called Exodus. Where's this Yahweh terrorizing Egypt at? We still building.
That never happened, man. That never.
I know it never happened. I done debated on that shit. Sweep. I use their book to show them it didn't happen according to right here.
Yeah.
Then the story narrative changes. Go read Exodus 14 slowly, y'all. Talking about God gonna show you the truth. God ain't showed y'all nothing but an ass whooping. He been whooping on y'all ass and y'all been sucking on the dick of this damn deity forever, and he ain't even gave you no Vaseline before he stuck it up in there. Fuck Yahweh. Fuck he gonna do? It's a myth.
Unbelievable.
They still saying God gonna show them something. I hope they replay this part of the video so the whole world can hear me saying that. Ain't no Yahweh gonna do nothing. God gonna show them something. God ain't gonna do nothing. Because that God ain't real. That God is a figment of their imagination, and that God was created so they could do whatever they wanted to do to the Canaanites that was in that region.
Hey, check this out. Wrath of Chemos, too much for Yahweh. Oh man, this is where I was at. That's where I was at yesterday. This is one of my favorite ones too. The L, man.
Wrath of emotion.
The L, man. You promised victory over these people, man. They whooped y'all ass and took y'all into captivity. And that wasn't sending you into captivity. It's a fact. It is what it is.
Hey, what about Yahweh being afraid of chariots? They warned that Yahweh couldn't prevail because they had chariots. But then some 200 years earlier, he drowned everybody in chariots. Get on out of here, man. We done with the mythologies, man. We real Africans on here, man. Y'all better hope I don't start playing the Papa Legba, opening up these damn keys, messing with these demons on y'all. Building altars on y'all ass. I'll show y'all how puny y'all God really is. Start making voodoo dolls of y'all niggas and shit.
Unreal.
That ain't unreal. It's very, very real. It's very real. B, don't play. Can I get 8 on 9, baby, please? Yep. 8. Yep. I'll tell boy, they'll be afraid. They're like, hey man, leave Chris Harris alone, man. He put a spell on me the other day, man. I saw something standing in my room. I ain't know what it was. What you mean, man? It was standing in the corner. I turned around, it wasn't there no more. Leave him alone. Okay, thank you, baby. I'll call that demon on your ass. Papa Legba be on your ass. Yeah, you think he was the candy man? Because that's all that movie based on. That's all that movie based on.
I don't be fucking with them scary movies.
Shit, I love it. Shit, I love, like, me and my wife, you know what we love, me and her read about more than this history and shit. We be reading about we be studying mass murderers and shit like that. We be studying that shit. Me and my wife love doing that shit because she started getting we look at them shows like the I'm a Killah and all that. Them mass murderers, boy, they crazy than the motherfucker, boy. Charles Manson was crazy than the motherfucker, boy. Shit.
He was.
Charles Manson sent 6 bad bitches up in your house and sliced your ass up.
Hey, you want to know one of the worst that I've heard, one of the worst narratives and lies that I heard in this thing?
What's that?
Crossed the line with Tazariak and
oh my God.
Just check this out. They tried to say that Baal was just a statue and there was never, I mean, these are all mythological gods, but they said that as far as the Babylonians and the people who worship Baal, of course the Israelites worship Baal too. They try to say that Baal was just a statue. And the way that they tried to win this argument was by saying that in the book of Daniel that he destroys all the statues of Baal. These people always made statues and tributaries to their gods. Baal is, like I said, is a deity. The ISUPK really tried to say that Baal is not a deity from the Canaanite pantheon. I couldn't believe it, bro. Couldn't believe it.
They said he wasn't?
Was not. And the representation of Baal was merely a statue that the Israelites put up.
Bro, did you hear it when I called up there on Tazariak's show? I got a video on my channel when I called up there on that Exodus 9, where it says God destroyed all the horses and stuff. He said, you're the dumbest. And then he said, okay, yeah, that's what it says. I said, so would you agree it says that? That nigga, that ugly ass fat motherfucker looked right on camera and said, yeah, that's what it says. And I said, okay, can you read Exodus 14, please? And he read it and he said, you got to be the dumbest motherfucker ever. So he had to throw that ad hominem in there because he saw it. And I showed him it was a contradiction. I say right here, it said he killed all the cattle and all the horses of, of Egypt. It said he killed all of them. And I said, now right here in Exodus 14, the Pharaoh is chasing him and he's on horses and chariots. He said, "You the dumbest motherfucker I ever met." And I was laughing because he didn't want to answer that shit. And I said, "Oh yeah, how so?" He said, "This is talking about food." That's what he said.
All right. So the issue is that he doesn't know what it's talking about. Let me give you an example of that.
Cause he a noob too. Sorry, I can. You only been this shit what 10 years, maybe.
Let me show you where that's at. Which one is about the
He wouldn't listen. Here's the thing. In the Exodus narrative with the 10 plagues, he wouldn't have to. We know Exodus chapter 9, when he killed all the cattle, ain't talking about food because he already gave a destroying all the food narrative with him destroying all the crops. And then it said, and then the flies and stuff killed all the firstborn of the beasts. But it says in Exodus 9, you killed them already. So what are they killing? Your God can't make up his mind, or Moses crazy than a motherfucker? Which one is it?
the fifth plague. That's the fifth plague. That's Exodus 9:37. Was that of an animal, disease, or pestilence? This plague alludes to the Egyptian deities, going back to where you saying, like where this shit came from. This plague alludes to the Egyptian deities that would come to the rescue in such an instance. One of these was, we got to go see who this is, who Apis, okay, Apis or Hapi. These are two Egyptian deities that will come to the rescue, okay? The bull god, and another was Hathor, the goddess of the cow's head. This is what this thing is about. So people have no idea what they're reading. So in short, what I'm saying is that there was no 10 plagues. And of course, that's why no kingdom, no pharaoh, no history in Egypt would corroborate something so silly as being destroyed by frogs and gnats, and that all your animals died because of fucking Yahweh. The people are making mockery of the Egyptian gods. Like I said,
when he destroyed the river and turned it red, that one of the god.
That is like just ridiculous. Like that's one
dumbass niggas take it literal.
Ones. Oh, here it is. That's the first plague. That's the first plague. That's Exodus 7. Was that of the contamination of the Nile River with blood, or the changing of water into blood? Sounds suspiciously similar to Jesus turning water into wine. This is an obvious allusion to the Egyptian Nile gods. This got nothing to do with it. This is an attack against the Egyptian gods. This has nothing to do with any water turning into blood. This is an obvious allusion to the Egyptian Nile.
No, yes, you're right.
The bull god of the Nile, Apis, Hapi, and the ram god, Kahum, who was the guardian of the Nile. It also includes Nun, the god of water and fish, and Isis, the god. This is Egyptian mythology right there in Genesis. It has nothing to do with anything Hebraic. It has nothing to do with Yahweh or none of that shit.
None of it. And what they're doing is they're taking old Egyptian texts, rewriting them, and presenting them to everybody as literal, so they can somehow show that their God is the one true God. That's all they were doing.
All right, brothers, I gotta jump off and take care of a couple of things, but I'm gonna listen on YouTube, bro. I will get with y'all. Y'all do a morning coffee tomorrow?
Of course.
Okay.
Anybody can get this smoke, man. Anybody can get this smoke.
All right, I'm gonna get up with y'all later on tomorrow then.
All right, bro. Peace.
Yeah, Chris.
Goddamn, Killah B, I ain't know we was gonna knock him out that quick today.
Yep. Knock that
all that. I would like to debate you on lions. No, I don't go over there and debate with them motherfuckers. I don't fuck with none of them. One of the motherfuckers that y'all see that I'll fuck with is King Set. But he debates over there. He not with them. I fuck with King Set all day long.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
I fuck with him. See, the problem that they have with me and Michael Edwards have with me is because I use the methodology of comparative religion and mythology. And when I'm showing you that these predate your text, that means Yahweh did not give these laws. Yahweh did not give these rituals. So it debunks I don't believe.
Break up. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking up. I don't know if it's me or you.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Hey, hold on. I'm driving through this part with a bunch.
Right.
Say what?
Yeah, you good now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I used to be like, no, my dad like, Christopher, none of them motherfuckers so he could just prove himself, right? And I'd be like, no, Hezekiah existed, Josiah existed. I believe he like, Christopher, none of them motherfuckers existed. And since I'm a father of my child, since I'm a man of my father, you know what? None of them existed. But see, what somebody want to do, they'll hear that and want to argue me on that so they can be right. Fine. I feel that you're trying to hold what I'm saying against you. I can prove to you that Hezekiah never knew a King Tarhaka. I can prove that. That's what I'm talking about. I can show you that the historical events of King Hezekiah never happened the way they said in that book. As a matter of fact, many people say he was a coward and a small chieftain. And I don't even take the minimalist view. So I can believe he was a historical king. And I can believe the thing I believe about David is he never existed. I believe that he's an archetypical mythical. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can't hear you. Let me try to straighten this thing out. Go ahead.
No. It's me. Can you hear me? Yo. I'm ripping the industry hard.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I think the audience hear you. I just couldn't.
Yeah. No, I was driving. I'm driving off of a beach right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So can I? Yeah, okay. So what I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I'm gonna show everybody that David is a mythical king based upon older narratives, right? He never existed. And those Misha and Tel Dan Stellas, I'm gonna show those are forgeries. I'm gonna beat all that shit up. I'm gonna do it all right here on this channel.
And that shit is easy.
All right here on this channel. That shit, dog, ain't it easy?
That shit mad easy. That easy.
That shit easy. Just easy work. And like I say to any of you niggas, what make y'all think y'all can debunk certified archaeologists and scholars that study anthropology? What make y'all think y'all can?
They sit at home in their job defeating people that went to school for fucking goddamn 8 years all their damn life.
Yeah, 20, 30 years. And you read one book with a confirmation bias and say, oh, this guy lying because this book say that. The archaeologists are saying we can't find it.
That shit crazy.
There's a bunch of bibliolaters and shit, bibolatry and all that other shit, man. That book ain't God. So, like I said up there, said, the reason why I got a problem with it is because it shit on African ontology, it shits on African people, and it shits on our divine African kings, no matter how imperfect they were. You got a problem with Set II, right? But you ain't got no problem with David being a murderer. A murderer. You ain't got no problem with that. Or Solomon being a rapist. Or Hezekiah committing genocide on peaceful Africans that dwelt there of old. You ain't got no problem with that. Because deep down, that's who you really are. You emulate that shit. I don't emulate that. I keep my eye, I keep balance in my life. And quiet, peace, justice, truth, reciprocity. That's what I keep. That's why when y'all be talking, them Hebrew Israelites be talking, I'm able to just be cool and relax and just listen to them now. Yeah, I had to go off on Pizzle the other day because you just slandering my name now. I ain't gonna let you do that live. Get on out of here. Continuously. And look, I don't have a problem with Don Bird. I don't know why he's on there calling me out my name. All you got to do is play the video where I did an ad hominem attack on you. I don't even think he knows the definition of it. But see, that come from Greg. When Greg, remember Greg, the Satanist, he used to be all up in there using all them fallacious arguments and all that stuff, talking about that's Ed Dixtorum and all that other stuff. I used to be all like, man, Greg, you got to cut that out, man, because these guys will start to use that as a crutch. You know what I'm saying? When they getting beat up in a debate. And it happened. It's happening now. You know what I'm saying? I saw that's what he was doing. Like, come on, man. I know where you're getting this shit from. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even attacked you. Like, what are you talking about?
Mike Weber's doing the same shit all these Hebrew Israelites doing. Trying to act smart.
What is he saying?
God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and sound mind. Fear is sin. I cannot fear anything or anyone and still be a priest, bro. You ain't no damn priest, my brother.
You ain't no damn priest, my nigga. Go sit your dumb ass down.
When he raises, yeah, he talking about you now. When he raises the standard of his studies to reflect absolute truth, then I'll have that convo with him. But as of now, he's not ready, and what I'll share with him would burn his soul so bad he'll probably become my enemy. I don't want him to wake up and study. I want him to wake up and study deeper with truth and guiding him, not the preconceived notions. Right? He could be a great debater and scholar if he would only calm hush. Go back and study from the perspective of truth and not philosophy. He would not analogous to individuality. But as of now, from what I've seen, he's just a pseudo minimalist fan. And now this is coming from the nigga that said he was taught by Black Jesus minister. And that's it. I ain't got nothing to say besides that.
So in retrospect, he called me a minimalist.
That's good, man.
Hilarious. Well, if he got something that would shake my world so bad, why won't he just come do it? That's what I would do.
Yeah.
But you was taught by Black Jesus minister.
Yep. Guy minister.
Now watch this.
Well, nigga sitting black ass minister sitting in front of the camera with black circles around his eyes like a dope fiend and shit, asking for niggas for money. Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day.
Y'all got some fresher chicken? Yeah. Hold on, B. Can I get a white rice bowl, please? Or extra chicken, please? Can I get fresher chicken?
Chris Harris, stay at the fuck.
What's wrong with the chicken right there? Oh, that's steak? Okay. I'll take that then. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, B. Yeah, can I get light black beans, please? Yeah, that's fine. Hold on, B. Let me order this.
I know watching 5 people in the room. 5 people in the room. You want that smoke and shit. Here go the people. Y'all want that smoke.
Can I get hot? Yeah, can I get extra sour cream and extra cheese? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's no problem.
Yeah, we got room for some more smoke. Come on in.
Who's trying to come in, B?
Ain't nobody. All that shit we did today. Ain't nobody come up in here.
Anything else?
What's that?
All right, boss man. It's gonna be 10:15.
Boss me.
I've been good, man. I've been good. Okay, thanks, boss. All right, peace. All right. Yo, B, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Thank you, bro. Peace.
And so, yeah.
Okay.
They ain't nobody got nothing to say. Ain't nobody can say.
No, they listening. They just what they're doing is they're listening. They're just being minimalist. I'm sorry. They're just being what's it called? They just scared to come on here and talk. Because like you hear, I was ordering some food, y'all. Excuse me. Damn, she fine in the motherfucker. She on camera too. Man, that's a sister, and she talking to a white boy on FaceTime. See, this is why I keep telling man, black man, we gotta step up. She all smiling in his face, and she bad than a motherfucker. And because niggas don't know how to take care of themselves and be black men and shit like that, she's looking at him like that's her savior. And I'm sitting right here, the knight in shining fucking armor. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck with a college degree and an engineering? Like, yo, and she's smiling at this motherfucker like that's her savior. Like, that's because her view on black men, man. And this is the problem. We got to step up, black men. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man. I'll be 44 and have about 7 badass 19-year-olds on my arm in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But anyway, as I was sitting up there saying, you heard all that shit Michael Edwards said, but how come ain't nobody disproving it?
Yep. And if you're a priest, he supposed to come out here and teach you. He's talking about you study more. Since when the stretches work like that? They supposed to tell you what's up. You supposed to know.
Right.
The most your Howard could hit you about with a bus in an hour. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what Shaka Amos was telling him in that video. Remember, on that Facebook post, remember he posted that video on there. He took it down. And I'm all like, y'all just be posting them videos because 9 times out of 10, you think people not gonna listen. And then when somebody listens to it, they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You got your, like, I listened to it. I'm like, yo, you got your ass stomped. Like Shaka Amos is one of the people I look up to when tearing down the biblical doctrine, or not. I don't even want to use the word exposing, but showing true scholarship when dealing with this book. You know what I'm saying? Right. He's one of the people I look up to. Like, even listen, Josh is one of the better Christians out there in our black community, right? You know, Josh, people like William Bell, Shaka Amos will have a discourse with you. Right? But people only want to talk to Shaka Amos and not to Chris Harris because Shaka Amos is a bigger name. Shaka Amos don't know as much as, that doesn't mean that I'm not as smart as Shaka Amos, but it just means that I'm a little bit more, I got a bigger knife. I don't have them log dialogues with you. I just go right for the jugular. You know what I'm saying? Nope. Let's cut the bullshit out. This is what I'm making my comparison to. And all you can do is come in here and tell us what you believe. I'm not trying to argue about your belief. If that's your belief, fine. But when you read that article on the Gilgamesh article, even one that you read that said they found circulated around 600 BCE, you said it says the biblical narrative is written around 500 BCE. So you said it's still 100 years short. He read an article and inserted the Noah's article in there saying this is clearly parroting Noah's article. That's called being scholastically dishonest right there. You can't do that, dog. You got to stop doing that kind of shit, man. Yeah. Like, come on, man. You making that shit up. And one of the reasons why you making that shit up. Look, and one of the reasons why you doing that shit over here. You continuously do that shit over there because ain't nobody to shut y'all asses the fuck on up over there at the Lion's Den. They keep arguing with y'all and talking to y'all about this bullshit. I don't do it no more. I stopped as of yesterday. I'm not debating y'all on this shit. It's nothing. It's not a debate. Unless you can produce an original text that's older, it's not a debate. And like he said, your boy talking about some Chris does not teach from truth. He teaches from philosophy. The fuck that mean? You think you smart. That doesn't make any sense what you just said. You just said the what he said doesn't even make any sense. He thinks that's how what is the Jewish doctrine? All of it's
Yep. You're breaking up again.
y'all just don't want me to. Okay.
All right, you sound good now, though. You're good now.
All right, I'm just driving back through where I was breaking up before, so it's gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Hopefully it don't do it. It's a lot of palm trees and shit where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Sunny
man.
as fuck outside
Shit
today.
crazy.
Yeah. What they say?
Sunshine Chris Harris. You go ahead, boy.
Who said that?
Hollywood Harris. God damn it. Fucking. I said that shit, nigga. Hollywood Harris.
Oh, I'm about to say like
you want to drive
yeah,
through palm trees and shit.
yeah, man. I'm driving through these palm trees right now, looking at white girls with their butt cheeks hanging out. There's nothing hanging out of them jeans either. It's ridiculous. Some of it is ridiculous. Well, some of them catching up to our sisters now. I ain't gonna lie about that. But a lot of it, like, ugh,
Yep.
come on, man. Put some pants on. Just put some pants on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all that. I'm looking at one white girl right now. All she got is a back, like her literal back, and it just goes straight back, like flute. Like, damn, no butt or nothing.
God damn, Chris.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Bro, but nah, man, that's all it is, man. So now I want everybody to hear that in intelligent discourse and somebody being intellectually dishonest come on the panel today, and then he get to crying like it's B's show, right? It's me and his show on these little segments we doing. It's him and his show, but what we sitting up there saying is, I can't tell him not to kick you off. You started acting ignorant.
Yep.
I didn't yell at you. I'm looking at it now.
I didn't. He left. I told him I was gonna mute him. I muted him, and then he left. And he left.
Too much of that real raw truth on his ass.
Yup.
Too much of that real raw truth on his ass. And then want to
lie and shit up in the chat and shit.
Well, you want to know why? Because James Cassell got kicked up off of here. That's why. So James Cassell can sit back and say, see, they just kick you off on there when you coming with that truth. I wanted James Cassell to come on there. I was gonna beat his ass up on that Peshitta today. I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna be doing research on this so-called Peshitta for the next 2 days. And I know what type of person Michael Edwards can be too. So I'm not really interested. If he doesn't want to have a discourse, fine. Fine, no problem. I'm not gonna beg you. I'm not gonna beg you for one, because essentially, to me, like, you're not really somebody that was on my what's it called, radar anyway. I'm trying to get with Zion Lex. We trying to set up a debate, and I talk to him a lot. We just can't get scheduled straight right now. And trust me, these people that y'all think know all this Hebrew and all this secret history, I promise y'all, I'm on my knees begging y'all. They don't. It's just a front for that camera, and who can articulate their points the best. That's what debating is. But see, I don't necessarily do that all the time. I just come with the facts, put you on my back, and brain buster your ass. That's it. There it is, right there. I didn't know he was gonna come with this. The Earwhipper Papyrus. I've been begging for a Hebrew Israelite to bring that up so he could prove the Exodus to me. I've been begging for somebody to get. They won't even do it. They won't even do it.
Yup. Yup. He come out and post. What kind of stupid shit is this?
Who said that?
Like, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, nigga, don't say it, nigga. Like, Michael Edwards, like, he like, what is this stupid shit? I said, I bet you won't hit that link and come out here and show us how stupid it is. And then he go into this big thing, how it ain't worth his time, but you came on the post and comment. You had enough time for that.
Oh, he's in the chat.
And then he talking about what he can do to us and what. About us and all that shit. I like the truth. It's the truth, nigga. Ain't nobody running for the truth. He up in there talking all this shit, nigga. The truth. I said the truth is the truth.
He's in the live.
And I said what's true. It's true on you. Not the Facebook chat. I mean the Facebook post.
Man, once he said
he can't compete.
He didn't want to have.
So he in there talking like he teaching us something. Fuck out.
Man, that dude spitting rhetoric, man. Once he said he didn't want to have a discourse, fine. It's cool. If you don't want to have a discourse, fine. I'm not gonna beg you. I don't clout chase. But see, everybody got to start somewhere, and I don't mind climbing the ladder to the top. I've done it everywhere I went. I've done it everywhere I've gone. ZRS Radio, Debate Talk for You, television. I've been there. That's why I study hard like I do. When I don't understand something, I don't debate it. I don't talk about it if I don't understand it. It's just like when they start talking about evolution and stuff, like when all my boys be talking about evolution, I just like, man, I don't know nothing about that shit. I don't study that shit. And that's called being honest. And let's say I am wrong about David. Let's say he did exist. Let's just do this. Let's say he did exist. Did he exist within the realm, within the capacity that the Bible presents him in? That's even a bigger dagger. Did he establish this huge kingdom from the Nile Valley, which they say the river Egypt, all the way to the Euphrates? And if so, where are the writings from these other kings that talk about him? You can't sit up there and say that the Tel Dan Stela and the Mesha Stela mention his name. No, they don't, because we know that Judah was called the house of David. That does not establish him or his deeds that it said he did. It does not do that. The house that Peshitta built. Some people believe he did, but I can't prove he existed or didn't exist. So as far as
all right, you break it up.
So if I see this myth already is David's name. No temple, old temple in Samaria, never found him. They never found him. Writings in Samaria talking about David. They're not there. So we got to get past all that, man. And that's what I'm saying. If you don't want to have this, fine. Whoever is capable of. If you want to have a discourse, cool. But one day I'm going to show up on your radar and you're going to end up looking silly. Just like I just did down and out. Just like I do all of them.
Yeah.
Stop being a Jew. You're not a Jew. You're African. You can worship whatever the fuck you want to do. You can worship whatever the fuck you want to worship. Ain't no God in the sky to worship, what to honor, and what not. Like I said, the Bible says, honor thy mother and father. Nigga, we done deified our mothers and fathers, nigga. Back in Africa. We deified them. So all that shit, man, that code of Hammurabi predates it. Ma'at predates it. Some of the arguments that I hear y'all making on Sonetta are some of the dumbest fucking arguments I've ever heard in my life. And it shows me that y'all aren't being scholastically honest. A lot of this dumb shit come out this New York conscious sector. Yeah, I said it. Y'all just be making shit up, smoking weed, and making up more shit. The only ones I listen to on that platform, the only ones I really listen to on that platform is Dr. Reggie, Shaka Amos. I always say that.
And that
I always
shit
say that.
ran by black people. That shit ran by Hispanics. That shit ran by Hispanics.
It's just so funny. It seemed like to me ever since Natural Tahuti and all of them went to jail, the show just ain't really been that good.
They set them up. That's because they set them up. You see what they did to them? Where was the Moors at?
Not.
Got locked up. Where was the Moors at? Where was the money side that should be still having them on the show. That nigga in prison right now doing life.
Didn't he have sex with an underage girl or some shit?
For getting caught with fucking heroin. That nigga was smuggling heroin across the country and got caught. And then had some in his ass, took it to jail with him, and killed 2 more inmates with the fentanyl fucking lace heroin that he had.
Wow.
Nah. There goes your RBG right there. Nah.
Wow.
Nah. And we all know what those Dominicans is about in New York City, nigga. And Dominicans don't fuck with niggas and shit. Unless you buying them bricks, Poppy. Unless you buying them bricks.
Chris Harris does not co-sign any of what B just said. Okay.
Dominicans don't fuck with niggas unless they buying them bricks. Get the fuck out of here. Unless you getting them fingers. Unless you go and you copping them fingers or Poppy in them. You know,
Harris does not co-sign any of that what B just said. I'm out of that. You know the game I was in. I don't, you know. Okay. Be wild, boy.
Tell me
wild in the motherfucker. Wild in the motherfucker, boy. God damn.
What the fuck? Niggas don't. Dominican won't even look. Dominican to call you a nigga. Colo and all fucking type of
shit. And a heartbeat. Yeah, in a heartbeat, they sure will.
Y'all be looking at these niggas out those black movies, like those YouTube movies and shit that they be having and shit. Ain't none of them niggas black. All them niggas is Dominican. All them niggas is Hispanic. 848 motherfucking what's the other shit? There's a couple of them and shit. There's like 4 or 5 of them shit. They all ran by Dominicans. You got LL just came up in here. What up, LL? What up, bro? What's going on? You're on the air, bro. What's up? Good afternoon, bro.
How that whore queen doing up there, brother? How's she doing? How that whore queen doing?
She's all right. Yeah, she's all right.
Nice. She on them teas and crumpets. She still eating them tea and crumpets up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you? How art thou?
Yeah. I'm well, thanks, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. We was just having a discourse. We were just having a discourse earlier about mythology and the Peshitta. And the brother that came on here couldn't hold his cool, and maybe you needed to be on here to help him out. You know what I'm saying? And tell him to calm down and listen to what I was asking him, and you could have helped him out immensely.
Okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, I've only got about I've only got about 10 minutes. Yeah, so I don't think I'll be able to talk about that biblical stuff and that kind of stuff we was chatting about yesterday and everything. And everything. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not running. I'm not running. Just I've got short time.
I'm not. If you was just stopping by to say hi, I'm not in the debative mood now.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Here go the thing with me. Once I get what I want out the way, like when I debate, tell you that. Anybody know you tell me that, I'll be like, I don't want nothing to do with that shit no more. I'm done for today. We just on here kicking it and shooting shit. Talking about Tazariak and his lies and shit. What you think about the Hebrew camps up here in the United States? What you think about them?
I really think they really need reform, because what it is, I'm looking to start my own Hebrew Israelite camp, but how can I say? And the way I want to start my own Hebrew Israelite camp is, I want it to be like a reformed Hebrew Israelite camp where we actually translate the scripture properly, where we go into Aramaic, the Greek, and everything. And and it's going to be a black only Hebrew Israelite camp as well. I'm gonna have women in it, and we're going to prioritize the women, because as you notice, a lot of the Hebrew Israelite camps, they're very male dominated, and there's a lot of, how can I say? I understand God, like, we believe that God made us the Israelite man, the leaders of the camps, and to lead the women and everything. I understand that. I just feel that a lot of our women just ain't being taught properly. So when I make a camp, I want to bring women in, and I want to make it a priority and an obligation that they got to learn like what we know, type of thing. You know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, I think a lot of the Hebrew Israelite camps in America, they need serious reform. That 12-tribe chart, it needs to go. The whole thing about women covering their hair, that has to go. All this stuff about women have to wear long skirts and can't wear pants, that has to go. You know what I'm trying to say? All this, a lot of these guys, a lot of the misinterpretations, they have got to be thrown away.
Okay. Interesting. So you're going to start a Messianic camp or a non-Messianic camp?
Oh, Messianic camp. Yeah, I'm New Testament.
Okay.
One thing I suggest is don't call it a camp, because that will put you right on the radar with the. So I would call it something. Call it a church or some shit. Don't call it no damn camp.
Okay.
Because please don't do that. Right in the same box with them. I wouldn't call it even no Israelite nothing. I'll call it something else. The UK World of Jesus Society. Call it something other than that, because you don't want to get caught in that box. And next thing you know, shit, maybe calling you and shit, asking about Joy Morgan. You heard about the Joy Morgan thing out there, right?
I'll say that again, sorry?
I said, if you're going to start your own thing, I wouldn't call it no Israelite nothing. I would call it the UK House of God or something. Don't call it no camp, and don't put no Hebrew Israelite nothing in there. Next thing you know, they can put you in a box with the rest of them. And I don't know, you can get away with shit in America. I don't know about the UK. Did you hear about the Joy Morgan thing that happened out there?
Yeah. Hear this. I can't say too much, but put it this way. I met someone that was possibly involved in that in the George. Actually, I'm not gonna say they was involved, but I've met someone who knows the murderer, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know about the Joy Morgan thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad, man. That was sad. How that movie and how that girl joined it and gonna tell her mother that and all this stuff, right? So the mother let her do her thing, but she called her sister a damn devil, right? And let her do her thing, and look what happened to her. And that's what happened when you go against what your parents telling you. Just as simple as that. And she went over there talking about this my new family. And look what happened to her. And then when the mother went to go find out about her daughter, and nobody would tell her, they wouldn't tell her a thing.
And exactly, and yeah, that was the major disrespect, is that they knew they knew everything what happened, and they didn't want to say nothing. Like, here, I understand they didn't want to snitch, but the thing is, like, is like,
hold on. What do you mean you understand they didn't want to snitch? Fuck that shit. You tell. I'll tell. Do some crazy, I'll tell. You go fucking Hebrew Israelite, you hide some bodies, I'm telling. Straight up, right? Live on it, I'm telling. Yep,
I understand what you said.
My bad. I forgot I was making another call, and the voicemail. Oh shit!
Because
I just voicemail said I'll tell.
I understand, because see this, I don't support that they concealed what happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think anyone would have been a snitch to say anything.
Yup. Wait, say that again. I'm more time. My bad.
I don't support that people concealed what happened or hid what happened or didn't say anything. I don't support that they kept tight lips on what happened. At the same time, I don't think anyone would have been a snitch if they told the priest and the mum what happened.
Oh, no, they wouldn't have told. But the church one that was not to tell. The church is telling motherfuckers not to answer no question.
Oh yeah, because I think they got signatures not to say certain things about what happens and all of that.
They did that afterwards. Afterwards that happened, they did that.
Oh, that's even worse. I didn't know that.
But see what it is. Now, pay attention to this. They told the people not to say nothing. What's the reason for that? So the church don't get blamed for it. You get sued by the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not giving a fuck about the people. That's supposed to be their brother. That's supposed to be their family. They supposed to be the shepherd. And the flock. They're supposed to be protecting the flock. That's why I say all the motherfuckers are pieces of shit. Wouldn't even tell that woman where her daughter was or where she was last seen or nothing. That's a damn shame. And the shit ran by a damn cop. A detective and that.
He said it's ran by a goddamn cop.
Yup.
Yeah, I'm aware that Nathaniel is a police officer, but at the same time, I still personally I don't have a problem with Nathaniel being a police officer. But what IUIC done, that was terrible. I didn't know that they signed a contract or an agreement afterwards not to say nothing. That's terrible.
Go ahead, take over, Chris. I gotta make a couple phone calls. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, he dropped off. Good. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm live streaming right now. What up? I'm live streaming right now. All right, so, yeah, man, that was sad, yo. That was sad as hell that happened. Nobody wanted to say nothing. And they up your ass every damn minute. They want to know where you at, what you doing, and all of this. They should have been the one to go contact the mother and say see where she is. You know what I'm saying? The mother, the mother shouldn't even have to come see her.
And the thing is, the mother got so stressed she can't walk properly now. She has to walk on a walking stick, and she can't balance properly when she walks.
Oh, that's horrible, man. That's horrible. That's horrible.
No, it's sad. It's sad. You know, I think you know what? I'll try to send you the video of the mother of her, how she's walking and everything.
Yeah, I'll do a show on that. Yeah, I'll do a show on it. Please do. Please send it to me. Yeah, man, that's crazy. And I bet none of them helping her out. You know what I'm saying? I bet none of them checking on her, making sure she's all right, and none of that stuff. I bet they didn't pay for no funeral, nothing. Because they found the body. They finally found her body.
Yeah. I remember it. Yeah.
I bet they didn't pay for funeral service. I bet you they didn't.
Probably not. And what you know what? You know what makes it even worse as well. You know they sent search warrant leaflets out for her.
Yeah.
Knowing that they knew what happened, so they're covering their own tracks.
Yeah, that's exactly what there was a dude. Do you know the guy, the Mexican dude that
I remember. He came out. Yeah, I remember him.
Me and him was in IUIC at the same time.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, we was boys. He was a cool dude and shit. Me and him we was in the Bronx, IUIC. That was the head camp. That when the Daniel and everything was in. That's what I was in. We was in there at the same time. We joined at the same time.
Okay.
And I know he's a good dude, but that cult shit fucked his head up. Like, he's still in it. He's not with IUIC, but he's still he's in it and stuff like that. But like, he'll still do it. I saw him on a video with Vocab the other day. But yeah, man, that shit was crazy. And that's fucked up that it took somebody like him to put it all out there. No one would have ever known about it. That would have been an isolated incident. Nobody would have known about it if he didn't say anything about it. They would have kept all that shit on the rack.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. Well, I respect him for coming out and saying that. You know what I mean?
Yep. That shit's crazy.
And
they want to know all your business.
That's terrible.
They want to know about you, but you won't know nothing about them.
It's hypocrisy.
Yup. They do background checks on people and everything. And not to see if you, like, you know what I mean, cause harm to the kid who knows you. To find out who you are. What kind of money you got. There was a damn sex offender on the goddamn, he was one of the elders, was a sex offender.
Oh my days.
I don't know what the case was and stuff of being a sex offender, but there's a lot of things could get you on that list that don't have to be no like perverted child pornography, rape and shit. Like out here, you could piss, you can get caught pissing on a tree or peeing in the bushes, and your ass can end up on that list for peeing in the bushes. Know what I'm saying? So I don't know what it was about. So I ain't gonna say the dude's name, but I know the dude before I joined IUIC. Before I joined a long time, when I first became it, like I knew him. And he was one of the elders. And I didn't know he was on the list. One of his family members told me he was on the list. And I'm like, you're supposed to be keeping the laws, and you got children up in here. Like, I mean, little kids and all types of shit. And y'all got this nigga up in here and nobody know about it? But he left. The dude ended up leaving IUIC and starting his own group. And when he started his own group, he did a show. And he showed how Nathaniel sent him a text message that had a nude picture of one of the dudes that joined the camp. One of the dudes that joined the camp was supposedly had a problem with homosexuality, right? Had an issue with that. And he gets a text message. I guess it was sent, wasn't on purpose or whatever. Like accidentally maybe sent. And it was a picture of the dude naked. And Nathaniel sent it to him. Yep.
Wait. So you say you saying the guy was a homosexual?
Yeah, there was a homosexual that had joined this camp, right? And Nathaniel, who's the leader of IUIC, sent this other brother that was an elder in the school a nude picture of that kid.
Wait. So Nathaniel sent a new picture to the homosexual guy.
No, he sent a nude picture to one of the other elders of the homosexual guy. So Nathaniel had a naked picture of the kid, and he sent it to one of the other elders.
And you say the guy was the kid, the guy that was the guy that was a homo.
Yeah, I don't know about underage kid, but he was a young man. He was a young man.
Okay. And you say did you say he was naked or something like that?
Yeah, it was a dick pic. Sent him a dick pic of the motherfucker. Yep.
So how did Nathaniel get that picture?
The dude that left, I ain't gonna say his name and shit. I said his name before on the show. I just say you're gonna put him out there like that. No more. But,
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So, like I said, like I don't know what is like he on the list, sex offender list, but I don't know for what. Like, know what I mean? I know just because you on the list don't mean you was doing something crazy. Like you could be just crazy. Like you gotta pee, you go pee on the side of the building, the cops see you, give you a ticket, you'll end up on that fucking list. So I don't want to put them out there with people doing this and that, and I don't know what the matter was. But all I know is that on the list, and he shouldn't have been up on the crew, or he should have been there, and all the people in the congregation are supposed to know. But he the one that told and said that Nate sent him that picture. Yup. Unbelievable. But yeah, we hit the 3-hour mark. I got a lot of things I got to take care of and stuff today. I'm about to close it up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try to jump on when you come on next. Yeah, thanks for letting me know what you're telling me.
Yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow morning. We'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks, Chris Harris and stuff. He's probably eating this food or something under a palm tree or some shit. His Mustang. Thanks to Sister P, of course. Always holding down the chat. Willie Grits. Thanks to Trey. Malachi. Alana Rubinite. Who else we have up on here? We have somebody else ask up on here. I forgot who the hell they were. But damn, who else I had? Came up in here. Somebody else came in here. I forgot. Whoever it was, so Willie Grits, and whoever else had. Oh yeah, Tootie, Sister Tootie, shout out to her too. And Don and Out and stuff. You came out here and you just didn't know how to act. So I don't know. You left. It got hot. So I don't know what else to tell you, bro. But you ain't come back. That's it. So we're gonna end this show. Thank y'all for tuning in and stuff. It's Killah B, goddamn Witchfinder General. Make sure you guys hang out here. Wait till tomorrow morning, and we start this morning coffee with Killah B and Chris Harrison. All right. So thanks everybody for viewing. You're curious about the cult behavior. Check out the new videos in the Witchfinder Archives. That's right. Don't get stuck. Yeah, and with that, people, Killah B the goddamn Witchfinder General. You got a witch, and I'll burn their asses up. Peace.
Yeah. See you, Killah B. See ya. Thanks for having me again. Thanks.
Yes. Why? Praise God. Judah gotta know, cats is Hasbro. Move your toes, see your soul, fly out the window. Versus Winslow's, catapult the mind beyond icicles. Land in Japan, where it trickles. The nickels catch they prey, seemingly, battingly through gaze. At bays, perfect the day. Watch Ashkenaz the Nazareth fade. Clad in nights, his sleep pervades. Sleigh bells ring up top. Everglades. Judah gotta know, cats is Hasbro. Move your toe and see a soul. Fly out the window, versus Winslow. Catapult the mind beyond icicles. Land in Japan, where it trickles. The nickels catch they prey, seemingly, maddeningly through gaze. At bays, perfect the day. Watch Ashkenaz the Nazareth fade. Clad in nights, his sleep pervades. Sleigh bells ring up top to Everglades. Abstract mind beyond temple design, yet construct temples in the rhyme. Seen beyond fair weather friends, what kind of time do you spend? Lend not to a pig, they only kill what you dig. Took a swig, called a nig. Thoughts are algebraic than trig. While y'all biting up sig, y'all Guinness contains squid. Open the lid to read out commands, law and testimonies. Phonies be damned. They call Shem a sham. Have you worshiping spinning lambs? Oh so nervous, oh so pervish. Lost in mania, more than whirling dervish. How can he hurt this? Said my perishing man. Tell on myself, oh damn. Ran with a pack of wolves till I heard the hoods. Turned my I can into I could. Rock my locks to show study, knowing God Yahweh all above me. Lovely as I think about Yasharal on the brink. Brinks got our city on ink, delivered to you faster than you blink. Instead of killing, I'm healing, reading what children revealing. Not double talk, card dealing, healing. When you see your ways, got real soldiers on deck, ready to slay. Judah gotta know, cats is Hasbro. Move your toe and see your soul. Fly out the window, versus Winslow. Catapult the mind beyond icicles. Land in Japan, where it trickles. The nickels catch they prey, seemingly batting through gaze. At bays, we perfect the day. Watch Ashkenaz the Nazareth fade. Clad in nights, his sleep pervades. Sleigh bells ring up top the Everglades.
Killer B, the goddamn West Side of General.